are back, and we are preparing for the longest week of wrestling that may occur.
A lot of pro
throughout
wrestling.
the year. We'll get to that.
You know what? You know what I have
later.
to say. You know what I have to say to that. Thank you, God.
Yeah, there you go.
You are
All
bringing me
right.
wrestling.
It's beautiful.
We,
Yep.
we got no time to
we're gonna
sleep or
be,
do anything.
That's right.
We're gonna be highlighting pretty much all of it here. We're gonna give it a shot, but we're gonna start because we have no choice in the land of bath salts and jaguars. I could say anything and it would probably work because Florida. But anyway,
Well, that's true.
as much as people keep telling me, you guys are on these guys a lot, I'm like, well, they talk a lot, so we kind of have to get into it because, the funny part of it is all of a sudden Hunter's in charge and Jesse, they're not really creating a lot of news outside of the show.
Right.
A lot of their shit's kind of in there now.
Right.
We have a big story developing with them that we'll talk about a little bit
Yeah.
later. But as we start in the land of All Elite, Jesse, they had an interesting week.
Yes, they have.
A lot came up. We're going to start on a positive note, though. There's a man who we all love, who Darren, who is not here, but we have a lovely photo of him that almost,
Yes.
might have hit me in the head earlier, but we made sure not to happen.
Right.
He's a man that Darren truly loves, as I think any wrestling fan truly would. Jesse, you've talked about this man numerous times. So many times that I think it's finally time, since we haven't done it on the show, to give our fans a wonderful introduction. So to start off the show, Jesse, there's a man currently working backstage in AEW who arguably could fix 90% of these problems overnight. I mean, yes, we're talking about the show, even though, yes, I'll admit they had the best main event of the week.
Yeah.
They did.
Oh,
but,
yeah.
SmackDown wasn't really trying. Although it was good.
It was a good segment.
Yeah. But the best main event was 100%
Sure.
Dynamite, which we'll get to in a little bit. But
Absolutely.
we're starting off with Jesse. There's a man, and his name is Jerry Lynn. Straight out of Minnesota.
Yes, sir. So,
if you please.
so Jerry Lynn, born, I believe, in the late '60s, '69, I believe.
I got it.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Look at
I meant to get the dates before we did this, and then I completely forgot to save them.
You had a long
I've had a long week. So
1963.
thank you. So wow. So even a little older than I thought. But
Yeah.
Jerry Lynn from here in Minnesota, I believe, southern Minnesota.
Minneapolis.
Okay. And has been in the pro wrestling game for about 30 years. Got his start, I believe, when he was 15, 16. I know you're looking at his bio right now. I mean, you name
His official debut was in '88.
Okay.
So about 25.
Yeah.
actually.
Well, wow. Let me see. He was older when he started to.
Well, that was the debut. Yeah, it was the debut. He was trained by Ed Sharkey.
That's right.
Obviously.
That's right. The great Ed Sharkey.
Oh yes.
And
We should also mention Francisco Abacar.
yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
Abarca.
Yeah.
And then obviously Brad Rangus.
Yes.
Sorry, I forgot those names.
No, it's
But
okay.
Yeah.
And really is a guy who not only understands the world of pro wrestling from the past, but the world of pro wrestling today. Very much a more Shawn Michaels quiet type. In the ring during his heyday, he was considered probably the most underrated performer, one of the most underrated performers, top 5 of his generation. A lot of people know his work from ECW. I know his work from not only ECW but the early I think he did a couple of things in WCW. He also, I believe, had a stint.
He was in '95. He joined
Right.
WCW. He was there right before they hit their late 90s.
Right.
I don't know. I guess height.
Height before the mega fall.
Yeah. He was in ECW from 97, 99, so
Right.
really towards the end of ECW.
Right.
Yeah.
Also worked a lot of different areas, including New Japan, stuff like that. Did a lot of traveling. But the guy knows pro wrestling is basically what I'm getting at.
I mean, folks, I'm just reading the bio. I'm looking at names here, okay? I'm looking at names, and we're talking about Benoit, Malenko, Guerrero, Sabu, early Jericho, Alex Wright, who I think a lot of people forget about. And then we get to ECW. We're talking about Just Incredible, Tommy Dreamer, Chris Candido, Lance Storm.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we're talking about him working with. First of all, yesterday I believe was the anniversary of 28 years ago somebody we all love, the franchise.
Yes.
Dumped a legendary championship and
Yeah.
declared himself the first ever ECW heavyweight champion.
Right.
Yeah, I believe so. Yep.
The franchise, we all love him.
Yes.
Shane
Shane
was
Douglas.
so underrated.
Shane was so underappreciated.
Yeah.
Because I underrated might not be the right word because amongst
Well,
his
he was
peers,
NWA heavyweight champion.
right,
so,
and
yeah,
amongst his peers, he was highly regarded.
Yeah.
But I think he's very underappreciated for his career.
Yeah.
But Jerry Lynn is this wealth of knowledge and experience. Also, one of the early TNA guys, TNA originals in the 2000s.
He was on their first show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And a great locker room leader. Now, Jerry is now in AEW as a producer. I believe also now giving
He's a producer and a coach.
Yes. Also working with this new talent relations team that they got going.
Yep. Something you probably should.
Tony Khan should have been did this. Because since Cody left, the stories just kept coming. They kept trickling out. All of a sudden, you were hearing MJF really wasn't happy. And all of a sudden, you were hearing, man, there's a lot of guys in the back, a lot of guys and gals who are just ready for their contracts to expire.
Yeah.
But before Cody was gone, not a peep. Not a peep.
They all thought they were the perfect locker room.
It was all friends wrestling. And now there's, I think, three. Well, we'll talk about three major stories.
Yeah.
Technically four. Because
there's a lot.
Because
the whole big mess.
the stories this week further let you know that clearly Kenny, the Bucks, and even Tony Khan were completely in over their heads. The only guy that was probably ready to run a wrestling company is no longer there.
No. First of all, before we move on, ladies and gentlemen, this man, as of this year, was inducted into the Indie Hall of Fame.
Yes.
He's in a bunch of Hall of Fames. He's a former IWA Mid-South Heavyweight Champion, NWA Mid-South Heavyweight Champion. A lot of things, Jesse. He worked a lot with New York Wrestling Connection.
Yes.
Match of the year one time with Masoda Tanaka. Which, by the way, in 2004, go find that match. That's holy smokes.
That's just pure Japanese pro wrestling right there. It's
the
great
Pro
stuff.
Wrestling Illustrated Most Improved in 99.
Yep.
Comeback of the Year in 09. His highest ranking in 2003 was number 29 in the top 500. In that same year, 2003. So think about this. He was number 29 in 2003 out of 500, right? He was also ranked number 281 of the top 5 greatest wrestlers in the PWI years in 2003. So the same year they had him as one of their 5 greatest wrestlers.
Yeah.
500 greatest wrestlers.
Jerry Lynn, and I mean, what's nice about the technology and everything nowadays, you can literally go on YouTube.
He had a
type in
short
Jerry
stint with
Lynn.
WWE, but was never really a WWE
He was
guy.
never really a WWE guy.
He won their light heavyweight belt
Yeah,
one
yeah,
time,
yeah,
but
yeah.
I mean, no one's ever going to act like Vince was going to have a great relationship with Jerry because they just saw
Well,
the business. in a
it wasn't
different
even that. It's just Vince thought he could do the cruiserweights better, but the cruiserweights only got done better in WWE when it was Paul Heyman running
Right.
SmackDown.
way. Right.
Um,
But, I mean, Jesse, you're talking about a guy. I mean, first of all, folks, wrestling and music Wikipedias are usually pretty accurate.
Sure.
They're usually, well done. Guys, just go look at the man. 5'11", 212 pounds. And yes, for those of you who didn't watch the preseason game, the Minnesota Vikings now have a punter at 6'2", 245. Because they said it about 80 times on the broadcast. They can't get over the fact that he's 6'2", 245.
he's a big boy. So,
McAfee likes him.
well, McAfee's a big guy, too.
Yeah.
So here's the thing.
But the guy's just phenomenal.
You've had that guy in that locker room for 2 years. Now he's just kind of getting into your talent relations. So let's get into the backstage bullshit before we actually give AEW their roses, because I actually thought Dynamite was mostly very good. So the first story we should be talking about today is, to me, I'm going to rank this higher than the other ones.
Okay.
It is the Eddie Kingston,
Oh, God.
Sammy Guevara drama.
Well, before Jesse goes on, let me try to get the journalistic part out. Reportedly, Eddie was suspended in secret for about 3 weeks, and he served the suspension. No one really noticed.
The rumor is they probably still pulled the match. We'll see this week.
Yep.
That they were going to try to have it all out.
Yeah. Basically, Eddie has been talking a lot of shtick to a lot of people. He seems to be getting in fights with a lot of different guys, both top guys and other people that just wrestle with different stuff.
He's a hothead.
Yeah. And folks, here's the thing. Eddie is Eddie. We've always given him credit for that.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, the problem is when you can't control the hothead on TV, how are you going to do it in the back? Because we all know he can't do that.
So here's the thing. Eddie is an incredible talent. I think a very underutilized talent in most of his wrestling career.
You always gave WWE crap for not giving him an actual talent
Because,
contract.
it's one thing to have him there as a coach, but he should also had a talent contract because he's great.
Yeah.
Apparently, like I've actually explained on the show before, there's still conflicting stories about that. It sounds like Triple H wanted to.
Yeah.
Vince and his team did not want to.
Yeah.
That's why it didn't happen.
Right.
But maybe Vince noticed something that maybe the rest of us didn't, because so what happened was there was a promo about a month ago on Rampage where Sammy Guevara called him a fat ass.
Yep.
Now, of course, because there's no leadership in this locker room.
It's spilled over in the back.
Well, So here's the thing: because there's no leadership in this locker room, these two never actually talked about how they wanted to cut the promo against each other, what was on the table, what was off the table.
Once again, not to be the defender of the guy, but you give Vince all the crap in the world, but at least he knew what was going to happen.
Right.
He knew that guys were going to keep it professional. He was buttoned up.
Right. And so here's the thing. So
until he unbuttoned in the corporate office.
And then he also,
Well, unbuttoned. Zzz.
And unzipped. So instead of Sammy running by because there's no leaders in this locker room, he goes out, he cuts the promo thinking Eddie's going to be okay with it. Well, as soon as he gets to the back, Eddie's pissed. He's yelling at him. He's ready to fight. Now, to Eddie's credit, after he was suspended and reporters reached out, all he said was, I'm fully responsible for this. I was unprofessional.
He took his licks.
Well, he took his L's.
Yep.
And he took his responsibility. Didn't blame Sammy for anything.
Right.
But he doesn't have to, because I am today, and here's why.
All right.
I let go of the Sasha Banks thing with Sammy because I'm like, he was young. That's in passing. It was a terrible thing to say.
Yep.
But he did apologize, which was the right thing to do.
And again, the victim asked us to not ruin a man's life.
Right.
You have to take that.
Right.
And again, there's the idea of like a Stockholm syndrome if like something actually happened to Mercedes, but nothing happened.
Right.
It was just a very, very poor choice of words.
It was an absolutely terrible thing to say.
Right.
But it is what it is.
Yep.
He apologized to her personally and then made the public apology.
He did, yep.
So she was done with it and we were done with it.
Yep.
But unfortunately in his wrestling career, there's been a lot of this shit where, as talented as he is, he has the tendency to be a little cocky.
A little bit.
So, for those who don't know, there was
he married the perfect person.
She humbled herself, too. She was doing so good.
She was. The key word in there... The key word in there
was. I was so happy for Ty. I'm still happy for Ty, but I'm like, I thought you learned so many lessons from your NXT stuff. Because for Triple H and Shawn to be like, we got to let you go, that had to be humbling. Because they're willing to work with anybody.
Oh, yeah.
So, because, by the way, Shawn Michaels was damn sure not a great locker room guy in his prime. And Shawn will be the first one to tell you that.
Shawn Michaels in 94, folks. Was he gone in 94? No, he
was gone by 96, I think.
Okay, so in 94 when he was basically the guy.
Yeah.
Like, folks, Shawn Michaels will never be the guy that people will say was the easiest person in the world to talk to.
He was a freaking mess, man. But
too many demons going on at the same
time.
A
lot going on with him. But one of the big things here is the fact that, so back in 2019, he got into trouble. This is before AEW. He got into trouble with Impact. For those who don't know, so he was booked. He was supposed to be booked on their show to come do some small story stuff, and apparently on his plane ride there, or his ride there, whatever they paid for, his way there, he started telling them what he was not going to do. Who the fuck are you? Especially at that time.
Yeah. What year was this, basically?
This is 2019.
Okay.
So, no more than 3 years ago. Mm-hmm. Now, a lot of people passed out because he was young. And like, yo, young indie wrestler, but you got to learn how to be fucking humble around here, man.
You're
No
being
shit.
well, and the other thing that people don't realize is because this used to be like currency back when WCW was at its
Right.
height. Bro, they flew you in.
Right.
They paid you with the plane
Right.
ticket.
Right, which we'll get into No Way Jose a little bit later in the show.
Yeah, that's another.
But that
Unsettling
happened.
story.
That happened in 2019. Okay. During the pandemic, in AEW, he got into trouble with Chris Jericho because, yes, everyone understands that he does the vlog and all that. And like I said, for a while, I was a big fan of the Sammy vlog because
and BTE had just gotten so bad that
Yeah.
there was no point in even
it
bothering.
just-
but
it was almost
It's
unwatchable.
still bad.
But
It was watchable, but it got to a point where, to quote Jim Cornette, by the way, great job for what's his name, jumping in and doing the corny drive-through.
Oh, yeah.
This week. I forget the name, Mr. Kippelman. Obviously,
Yeah.
works over at Vanguard.
Yeah.
Did a great job.
He
by
did
the
an
way.
excellent job.
But anyway, no, to quote Jim, likes the smell of his own farts, way into himself.
Yep.
I mean,
what
else can you say?
They used to be like, because he would do the jokey stuff sometimes that it wasn't the same like what the Bucks would do on the BTE. It was with more humility, and you just kind of got to see the wrestlers just be their own people. Because most of the time it was basically alpha kayfabe on Sammy's stuff. And you got to see, like, man, these young kids are really cool kids. So
Yeah.
Another reason I used to, even though I hated a lot of early AEW at first, because I was just like, this thing's a mess. But I was just like, I hope it succeeds because these young wrestlers deserve this opportunity.
Yeah.
And I'm happy AEW exists because I don't know if Vince is going to give these young guys these opportunities.
100%,
Guys and
yeah.
gals.
Yeah.
Now, and that's just speaking on the level of the TV that they can get.
Yeah,
working
well,
with a
yeah,
company
exactly.
like this. But while filming one of these things and spending time with his ex-fiancée at the time,
Yep.
he got too drunk and was late to a Dynamite taping.
Yep.
See, now here was the problem for doing that. Dynamite went live again during the pandemic, when they did the empty arena and stuff. Once
Yeah.
again, big ups to Cody.
Yep.
Because according to rumors, that was not the original plan. But Cody was like, listen, Tony, talk to your dad. If we can just do Daly's Place, we'll make it work.
Well, and to be fair, I mean, Daly's Place at that time wasn't doing anything
Right,
anyway
right,
because
right.
everything was shut down.
Right. Even during the football season, the Jags had, no one had fans for the longest
Well,
time.
the Jags
so
don't have fans normally in the stadium anyway.
We'll
Yeah,
see
that's
this year.
true. That's true.
It's funny we mocked them, but they were literally in an AFC Championship game like 4 years ago.
True, but I think what's also funny is the coach that they so ceremoniously fired, which we all agreed they should have. He's already back at Fox.
Oh, of
Yeah.
course. But
He's already back at Fox.
That's a whole nother comment. Anyway,
Yeah.
I won't get into Urban Meyer. I'm trying to be happy today.
Yeah, there we go.
So that happens.
Yep.
Where Chris Jericho, his technical mentor,
Yep.
got in his ass. Like, hey, you're supposed to kick out the show with this match.
Yeah.
It had to get pushed because you were late.
Well, not only that, but like, do people forget the very first match in the history of AEW was Cody versus Sammy?
Yeah.
He debuted with the gimmick, the greatest ever. That was literally the gimmick.
Right.
Which I get was the gimmick, and the kid was talented, but I'm sitting here like, bruh.
I know.
No one in that the majority of that audience hadn't heard about who you were until that moment.
Right.
And you're coming in with that gimmick.
So there's that incident.
He's trying, but
There's that incident.
Yeah.
Now, people in the timeline have also added the fact that he probably did cheat with Ty Conti on his ex-fiancée during this time
Well,
as well.
Jesse, you were the one who was talking about the fact that, yeah, Sammy's technically engaged, but there's a lot of stuff happening on this vlog that, oh boy.
I mean, there was some stuff on the vlog with Anna Jay, even though technically she's dating. Hey, it is what it is. Maybe they're all poly. I don't know. I don't care.
Maybe it's their sense of humor.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't know.
there's-
I don't care.
Exactly.
That's their personal lives.
We even tried to get people off of him and Ty's back for a little
Right.
while. But then again, they're the ones that kept being the most public figures in wrestling on Twitter. That there was nothing else to do.
Well, what made it worse was the fact that then even Tony's stupid ass Khan, and now he's learning, don't ever follow anything Vince Russo did. You're trying to turn real life stuff. If you don't do it right, it fails.
Yeah.
You're trying to turn real life stuff into story, and it causes chaos when you don't do it right.
You know,
Well, it just-
not to interrupt you, Leroy.
Yeah.
I've seen it work one time. And I think that Adam and Matt both look back on it and they say it did wonders for them. But look at the locker room they were in. You think Taker was going to let those two start to shoot in the middle of a show?
No.
Not happening in a million years.
No.
Those two would have shoot. They wouldn't have killed each other, but they would have shot a little bit. They would have come back, and Taker would have whooped both their asses. And there wouldn't
Yes,
have
they
been
would have.
there would have been no need for JBL to be the bailiff in wrestling court because Taker would have whooped both their asses, and the rest of the locker would have been on their phones like, "We don't see anything.
Right,
We are not
right.
taking photos." Like,
Right.
if you thought for 1 second anyone in that locker room was going to get away with taking photos or video while Taker was there on an incident that was gonna be handled.
Right.
Bro, if you think they got their asses whooped, Taker would have taken you out back and whipped your ass. Like,
Right.
like leadership.
Well,
is
there
what
was
we're getting at. Yeah.
basically leadership in the
Yeah.
locker room.
Yeah, no, and with that time when they're going on where he's doing things he shouldn't have, I mean, at that time, who is he spending most of his time with? The other wrestlers,
Right.
And different things. So stuff like I'm not trying to make excuses for him,
No, yeah.
but I'm like, it happens. It happens
Right.
in any kind of
Right.
business. If you're with the people you work with more, there's a chance something might happen like
Right.
that.
Well, but
So it's like
that's why I
shit happens.
never really cared that much.
Well, like I said, I only mentioned it, but it's not in my
right,
timeline.
Right,
of
yeah, no,
incidents.
yeah.
It's just not.
But ultimately, like, okay, the example that I used early on in our show, I think before you got here, Leroy, we were talking about Paige. Look, you put a bunch of kids together, shit like that's going to happen. And, of course,
Yeah.
she didn't do it, so that's why WWE never really punished her for
Right.
it, because it was never meant to get out for
Right.
public consumption. But ultimately, folks, you put a bunch of young people together in a world where they got money and time, shit's going to happen. Like,
Right,
it just
right,
is
right.
what it is.
Oh,
But now
well.
back to the actual timeline.
So moving past the whole stuff with him tying the ex-fiance.
Yeah.
Then, of course, there is the fact that technically when they went on their trip, they technically scheduled it to like a week late, apparently, and they weren't supposed to. Also, the fact of him being interim champion, his ego got in the way. He was against it. Even though Cody told him, well, you know, this is a temporary thing. You're going to become a permanent champion. It's just,
Yeah.
But apparently he had a problem with that. Sammy's got to fucking grow up at some point. And listen, Eddie has a lot of issues. I have made no bones about the fact that sometimes the man, as a native New Yorker myself, pisses me off. But I respect that man. I do. Like I said, we would fight. Maybe he whooped my ass in the streets. I whoop his. I don't know. But I know we'd be done with it afterwards.
And you
But
probably get yourselves a nice corned beef sandwich when it was over.
I
There
go,
you go,
I go,
yeah.
I go buy him a beer or a mojito, whatever, when we were done.
You'd get him some real pizza, too,
Right,
not
right,
that
right.
Chicago stuff that
You are
Punk
gonna-
keeps saying is the
You
best
are
thing in
gonna
the world.
die on that hill, aren't you?
Damn. I found the rant. It's now officially on YouTube. I will die on the hill. It's a casserole.
I will go eat pizza in Chicago.
I
will
eat
go
Sammy's
eat
for
pizza
crying
in
out loud.
New York.
Sammy's Pizza is about as close to New York style pizza as you can get.
That's
around.
a good,
I was about to
some-
say, it's pretty
some
good. It's
damn
not
good
bad.
pizza up here.
So, Sammy he's had a lot of incidents where it's just like, dude, grow the fuck up. Now, to Sammy's credit, he said he was wrong by not running it by him. But for me, the reason I'm getting on Sammy about some of this is it's another issue of maturity. You're almost 26, dude, 27. You got to grow up.
Yeah, it would have been an easy thing. You go backstage. Hey, man, I'm going to cut this promo. This is what I'm talking about. What do you think?
I'm going to call you a fat ass.
And,
Right.
And if you would tell him that's what you're doing, if he didn't like it, hey, no, I don't want to do that. Do this instead. Okay.
Right, like, hey, you know what? I was going to maybe make a fat joke. If you're not okay with that, let me know. Like, if everything else is in balance besides that, you're good to go.
Yeah, I
Well-
mean, many times that we've been backstage at shows,
Yeah.
we've seen the wrestlers interact
Yeah.
and talk things out and figure what
You
they're
know,
going to do.
It's
That's
really,
what you do.
It's really, really sad, though. But, Jesse, you talk about there being no leadership. Sammy is a byproduct, sadly, of this entire locker room.
Unfortunately.
And the saddest part about it is that you got a guy in there making $6 million. His name is Jon Moxley. Now, John is a consummate professional. We understand that.
Sure.
The problem is that John's version of professional when he's in the ring is a lot of middle fingers for literally no reason. He says shit 7 times. And it's just, no. I mean, people want to laugh at that, but it's a real thing.
And I
that-
believe he's bled about 6 or 7 times since we started.
Exactly.
Yeah.
He hasn't bled in the last couple of weeks, but that might be because a report that Jesse's going to get to in a little second might have a little more validity than people think.
Right.
But anyway, no, it's just Jesse. John is going out there, and John's doing the same thing. You talked about it last week. We have a top 5 to get to here in a little bit. You talked about it last week. You wouldn't have fired John, but you probably would have suspended his ass, being like, we ain't here to air dirty laundry on national television.
The stuff with him, CM Punk.
Yeah.
Um,
But if it's okay for John to do, you can't. I mean, like, look, I am not advocating that we give a 26, 27-year-old a pass.
Right.
You are 27 years old at your peak. Stop being that guy, and sadly, too many people do this. They wait till they're 40 to finally grow up. And I'm like,
Right.
you can't do it at 27 and have
Right.
13 years of, like, relaxedness as opposed to, okay, you turn 40 and all of a sudden you're like, the last 10 years have been a little childish. Really you couldn't figure that out at 30. It took like
Right.
we all have seen people
Right,
do that.
right.
Drunken stupor for 10 years, and they finally realized.
Yeah, exactly. But no, it's just Jesse. While John may not be as bad as Sammy, because obviously he's got Renee, and if there's anyone that's got a nice head on her shoulders, it's Renee Paquette. I mean, the
Right.
woman's one of the smartest people in arguably
Sure.
the wrestling business.
Absolutely.
If he screws up, trust me.
Oh,
she she has this vice grip that grabs the balls and squeezes.
She's Canadian.
Oh,
B, she was a hockey announcer. She knows she knows her way around a fight.
She will pull the stick out and say, "I'm gonna
She
slap
doesn't need
your
a
ass."
stick. No stick needed.
Fist fight. Yeah. So here's the
Gloves
thing.
down, punch.
But do you think that might have something to do with it? That one of your top guys is arguably still acting like a child in a way on national television.
Well, now this is a lead into another backstage news thing.
We have so many to get
Well,
to.
I
in
know,
AEW,
it's like-
it's
and-
ridiculous.
and you look
hard
at
to
this
believe
too, and-
WWE's just going to stay in the ring this show.
And
like,
we're-
we have nothing.
And also, John,
Well,
but
we
you also look Jericho. Jericho was there. Why isn't Jericho doing anything?
So now let's get
Is,
into that.
is
Yeah.
he being a child
Let's
himself
get
too?
into number 2.
Number 2, it's
Yeah.
So this week before Dynamite, they had a full locker room meeting.
before we get to that,
Oh, God, yeah.
there's one other report, Jesse. I think you forgot about.
No. Because
We'll
to
get
me,
to
this
that?
this locker room thing leads to the rest of them.
No.
Oh,
No,
okay,
no.
okay.
This was before everything came out. This was actually a topic from last week.
Okay.
Jericho reportedly told Tony Khan
Oh, yeah.
to take Judas away when he turned heel. And first of all, Jericho didn't fight that hard. We all know that.
Right.
Jericho. It's not like Jericho fought for it. He probably mentioned it in passing.
Right.
A slight of hand,
Which-
if you would.
Which is a good thing to do if he's Judas.
Well,
whatever.
Tony said no, and I'm pretty sure that was the end of the conversation. Not because Tony, quote, drops the hammer, because we all know he doesn't do that, but because probably Chris was like, I tried, and then just walked away and said,
Tony
I'm going to
needs
keep
to
giving him
drop the
Judas
hammer.
because, damn, they love that song, and I'm getting tired of it because, as Jesse would say, there's good butt rock, and then there's Fozzy, which is,
Bad butt rock.
but, it's bad
There's
butt
just
rock.
some.
Dookie.
It's good butt rock, and then
It's pure dookie. That's what it is.
Dookie?
And I don't mean that in the Green Day way.
No.
So
take
That
a
sold 10 million copies.
right.
Well, mate, you can help. You can have a better Dookie if you listen to that Dookie.
To be fair, that album did stream pretty high, so I can't.
I'm not saying Judas did bad, but it's just like but it's like, seriously, they sing your song, you come out trying to be a badass, you come out for this confrontation with the American Dragon, which we'll get to in a little bit, and you got people singing the song, and it's like, dude, it's you singing the song. Like,
Right.
It's an ego boost is all we're saying.
I know.
But anyway, back to what Jesse
So-
was getting
Change the
to.
song.
The meeting this week.
By the way, quote, mandatory for all talent in
Right.
Cleveland, Ohio.
So the meeting this week,
Go to Cleveland.
Tony decided I'm gonna let these guys and gals know that everything that's going on is not good. So apparently, here are some of the highlights of the meeting.
Go ahead.
Number one,
Yep.
there will be no more demands. Now, with the new talent relations team that he has in place,
Yep.
your ideas will still be heard, but if I say no as the final say, then the answer is no, and we're moving on from it.
So it sounds a little funky.
Pause. Man, that sounds like a guy that maybe just cost himself his own company.
It's Jesse. I would love
Yeah.
to point out it sounds a little funky. I would love to point out
Yeah.
it sounds a little funky.
You know what? It's almost like it's a funky kind of love.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, though that piece of shit on his own podcast actually decided to tell the truth about how it all ran backstage. I still don't like him, but apparently all he was a conduit to Vince McMahon for the talent, which is fine. But he was still a conduit for all that bullshit going on.
Well, but Jesse, Jim says all the time, he's the reason why he's lasted 30 years. Vince called him right back once Global Force dropped
Right.
him, once TNA dropped him. We all know he's an ass kisser.
Right.
We all know who he is. I mean, like, no one makes a bones about who Mr. Brother Love was.
Well,
like,
yeah.
I mean, it is what it is.
And the less said
You
about
you see the brown on his lips and his nose. You know that. You know?
Not as much on Johnny Ace.
well, the less said about the Funk Man, the better.
Yes.
So
We're still in your pause, by the way, so go ahead and finish up.
On
Sounds
pause.
a lot like somebody.
it sounds a lot like it's a funky kind of love. So basically, everyone went to AEW believing that
Creative freedom.
we have full creative freedom. They allow us to try anything,
Quick
do
question,
anything,
if
The
whenever.
promised land.
If there was creative freedom, whatever happened to, and Jesse did not have time this week to post all over our Facebook, but what happened to the Southern Gentleman if there was creative freedom?
Pay attention this week. Actually, I'm sure I'll post a video tonight about us going back to being live again. So make sure you guys are at on YouTube to see us live again next
Yep.
week. Yeah, well, I cannot wait to post those videos of Chucky and tell you guys about Chucky because he's deeply underutilized in AEW.
What do you mean? He's on every show scouting talent in the first row.
So number 2.
In a year.
There we go.
But he's wearing unicorn poop.
Right, yeah, don't get me started. They're basically the white New Day, and it's not good. So number 2,
He's not wrong.
I'm not.
He's not wrong.
Number 2, another thing he put out there was the fact that from now on, any issues that come up, like the issues we're going to get into that tie into all this shit,
Yeah, right.
are to be brought to him first.
Yep.
Or to him or one of his talent relations people first, because from now on, anything that is tried to handle between the wrestlers could result in a suspension.
Can we also point out that part of this talent relations group is Tony Schiavone, and I want to make this very clear. He left wrestling for 30 years. He went and had a family, beautiful bunch of kids. We all know that.
20 years.
30 years. He came back at the start of All Elite, which was 2018. Do the math.
Yeah.
He pretty much left in 88.
So 98.
No, 2008, 98. So 20 plus years.
So 20-something years.
But you also have to remember, he wasn't doing much in the early 90s. They brought him into WCW a little
well,
bit.
he was a commentator, though.
Well, but Jesse, but either way, he left for 2 decades of wrestling. He wasn't around.
Right.
But
no, and I'm giving you that.
But this is your
20
talent guy.
years. Yeah.
he's part of your talent. Jerry Lynn was not mentioned
Excuse
in
me.
that, by the way.
Well, here's the thing,
Well,
though.
Jerry's kind of there, but
Well, he's there. They
Yeah.
mentioned that he will have a role. Here's the thing. The fact that they just have talent relations people there now. I mean, Pat Buck is there, and that guy was great in WWE for a long time.
Yeah.
So yeah. So that was edict number 2. And then apparently a couple of guys were key speakers for some reason.
you forgot edict number 3.
Oh, yes.
There was a tampering issue that
So-
had to be handled.
Edict 3 was that they are all contracted wrestlers, and other companies, unless pre-negotiated with AEW, they are not supposed to be speaking to. The reason this came up was because Chris Jericho apparently is a snitch,
Yeah.
By the way, not doing yourself any more favors with the NBA crowd that you didn't do before.
Yeah.
Um,
Boy, NBA Twitter loves Chris Jericho.
yeah, they're going to really love him this fall.
Yeah.
And especially knowing that he's a snitch. So apparently WWE had reached out to Chris. I'm guessing it was Triple H.
Yeah.
By the way, which he's friends with.
Yeah.
Who he's friends with.
By the way, Triple H has half of your talent roster in his phone right now. You didn't ask for the phone numbers to get deleted. You didn't ask for.
Right.
You sent out a memo from your legal team. Sorry, your father's legal team, saying that there will be no handling of the contracts. You work here. I, quote unquote, I own you.
Basically.
Boy, those Saudis really don't care what they say, do they?
No, they don't.
It's,
At least they're very honest with
Yeah.
with their brutality.
yeah, exactly.
Here's the thing. By the way, there's a lot of good Saudi Arabians
there
out
really
there.
is, yeah.
I'm just talking
Yeah.
about Tony Khan. And the
We
Khan
like Nick
family.
Khan.
I tolerate Nick Khan.
That is true.
because I need him to do good.
Yeah.
Well,
You need a few matches on him.
He's doing okay.
He's right now. He's like the current head of Disney. I have to root for you because I want Disney to do well.
Yeah, exactly.
But
don't
you
want
keep
fall
fucking
apart.
up. We got to get you out of here.
Yeah.
Well, as I said,
but anyway,
you
so
get Stephanie
anyway-
and Triple H help.
Right,
So
right.
anyway, they sent a memo to WWE, which all reports were Stephanie showed it to her kids because because apparently her kids can make a better memo in their sleep.
So apparently the memo was basically you are tampering. It wasn't technically a cease and desist, but it was a cease and desist without saying cease and desist.
Yeah.
Like I was telling Zach at our lunch meeting, I gotta be honest. They had to laugh at this.
Well, if they're talking to Jericho saying, "Hey, when you're done, we want to put you in the Hall of Fame," what's wrong with that?
Nothing would be wrong with that. So what Jericho said, what happened was
Jericho, Henry, Big Show.
right.
Like Tony, they're not going to be in your company long enough to do enough to be in your Hall of Fame.
Right.
Just
Okay, like
Right.
keeping tabs, keeping relations with them, make sure everything's
Jim Ross
good,
is already
so.
in the WWE Hall of
Yes,
Fame.
he is.
And he works for you.
Right.
And he was on Dynamite the
Right.
whole show. Still a bad idea.
Yeah, they were supposed to only let him do a half a show. I don't know what happened with that.
Well, apparently Taz is too busy not being a part of the shit show. So
Taz is anyway. We'll talk about that later. But
anyway, edict number 3 will finish up.
so now because Chris Jericho is a snitch, and said, "Oh, they called me about maybe doing something with Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn." Is that what he called you about? First of all, when apparently that report came out that Chris said that, I'm like, first of all, I wouldn't believe a word Chris Jericho has to say. That's number one. And then two,
I love that sign that was on Dynamite.
Yeah.
Oh, you didn't see the sign? For once, their bad security actually made the best sign of the week.
Yeah. I did see that.
Yeah,
real
the
quick.
sign simply said, "Where was Jericho's wife on January 6th?"
oh, we know where it was.
Oh, no. She posted photos of it. We know.
Right.
Yeah.
We know where she was.
We're aware.
Traitor. So
No, I just say moron. I don't.
and a traitor.
Yeah.
So
Same thing these days.
Right. So here's the thing. Even if he hit up Triple H hit him up for anything,
Yeah.
of course Triple H knows he can't sign him right now because he's still under. Triple H understands these things. Remember, Triple H was terrorizing in WCW. They let him go. They let his contract expire.
Yeah.
And then he went to WWE and was able to make something of himself. But like,
Something is an understatement. But
well,
Yes.
a Hall of Famer, essentially.
yes,
You hated the Reign of Terror, but you had to give the rest of it credit.
he is a Hall of Famer. There's
Yeah.
no doubt about that.
Oh God, yes.
But
But it sounds suspiciously like a guy who just celebrated his 77th birthday among friends
Right.
and is no longer involved in the wrestling business. And by the way, folks, we get it. Linda wasn't there. Jesse's been on this for
Who cares?
15 years. They haven't been in the same room, for Christ's sake.
they've probably been divorced, but they just don't get a divorce, as we already alluded to. So here's the thing.
Let him celebrate his birthday. Who cares?
So like I said, okay, Jericho told him that, so now he's telling the talent not to talk to WWE. What are you so afraid of?
Are you afraid that now that Papa H is in charge, that since Grandpa Vince went home, they might actually want to go play in the other?
Maybe they want to go back.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, let's be honest.
You
Most
got
of
some
the,
World Tag Team Champions that really aren't doing much right now.
right.
You continue to say, well, they're World Tag Team Champions. What have they done since they won the World Tag Team Champions?
Not enough.
Dibs.
But
They had a handshake on this past Dynamite.
I am looking forward to that match, though.
It's going to be a match, yeah.
Yeah, it's just, to me, I'm just like, so all of a sudden, the heads of WWE has changed to heads that everyone actually likes, talent-wise. The talent itself
The
likes.
talent, from what I've also read some reports, maybe you've seen these reports, I don't know if you have, no one seemed to really have a coarse word with Nick either.
Well, no one has a problem with Nick because they understand why he was brought in. But
Yeah, he's an agent.
right. So, but all of a sudden, because the foundational heads have changed, and by the way, it's funny that WWE corporate put out what they put out about the letting, the bloodletting, quote unquote, of Mr. McMahon's team.
Yeah.
And yet, really, their numbers have never been better in the last few years now.
Their stocks haven't been this high in 3-4 years.
Yeah, like
yeah.
they're-
Pre-pandemic, they weren't this good.
right. Like they're really good right now.
Yeah.
So with that,
Kathy got some stock in WWE.
nice.
Oh, they're very
I was like,
nice.
that was awesome. It's a good job.
Though
Leroy, you
Yeah.
can tell Kathy it's like being a owner of the Green Bay Packers. They don't give a fuck about you. Anyway, go ahead, Jesse.
No, not.
well,
no.
I mean, if she has what is it valued at? $80 a stock?
Yeah, I don't know what she. I don't know. I'd have to ask her.
So I
how
mean,
much
she has
so.
$160, and then she technically has 2 stocks of the company.
True, but it's
She-
not like. But
She just wants to cash in. She
Well,
don't give a shit about Dylan a minute.
That's
or
fair.
anything.
Triple H has one big. Hey, tell her. Here's some insider trading. Tell her to cash out after The Rock comes back at WrestleMania. It'll never be higher than that moment.
That's
No,
real.
yeah.
That's real.
Yeah.
That's the realest shit ever.
I'll-
The next day, as soon as the market opens, you sell that shit.
Right.
No
It'll
shit.
never be higher.
Nope.
So here's the thing. So now you're worried.
Yeah.
Now you got fear.
You're shaking in the boots that your daddy paid for.
Because Triple H, now that he's taken over, Raw and SmackDown have never been better. They've never been better.
Raw hit 2 million.
Right.
Oh, they did. Sweet.
It's now it looks like it's a constant, like maybe it goes down by 100, but it keeps going up and up and up.
Yeah.
People actually want to watch Raw and SmackDown again.
And people want to watch 3 hours of Raw.
Which, my God, Triple H, you figured it out. Though sometimes the beginning of the third hour has a lull, but like he said, it was his nightmare when originally he was brought up. He was asked about this in 2019.
By Stone Cold.
Yeah, about if he was booking. He was like, "Man, that third hour Raw scares the shit out of me because you almost feel like you're running out of ideas."
Yeah.
That's why I like watching on Hulu the next day. So
The
it's
one
like
good
2
thing
hours.
for them is that you don't really need to pop that third hour because not a lot's on unless it's football season.
Right, and I mean, and the good thing is he's getting a lot of practice right now.
Yeah.
being able to just book the full 3, and he's doing a good job.
When the Universal contracts come up, like the Fox contracts, I would think Triple H would tell Steph and Nick, try to see if they'll let us go back to 2.
They probably don't. They probably won't. They make a lot of money from advertising on these
Which
3
is fair.
hours.
Yeah, which is fair.
So Triple H is just going to have to kind of learn to
Yeah.
continue to book the 3.
Yeah.
But
So you're scared there,
so
Tony.
you're afraid.
Yeah. Well, wait, Tony.
And by the way, this is not the first time he's shown fear.
No.
Since
it's
Triple
not.
H has taken over.
No.
So it's not only just the don't tamper with my talent, quote unquote,
Yeah.
unquote.
Yeah.
It's also the fact that ever since Triple H took over, all you try to do is overlie and boost about your company.
Yeah.
Why are you so afraid?
And well, hold on. I thought that only the formerly chairman, 77-year-old, I thought he was the only one who boasted a little too much about
Right.
the company during conference calls.
Right.
You know, looking at his Twitter feed before Dynamite and Rampage, the crap he says makes me go, what?
Because he's full of it. It's,
No, I think
Too
he,
bad
like,
he's not more Fulham, because they would prefer that
They lost again, by the way.
I
Yeah,
think
of
he
course
like
they
had
did.
half a bag of cocaine before he tweets some of this crap.
I mean, I couldn't believe that Arsenal fucking let them score first. It was insane to me, but
Yeah.
yeah, so that was his third edict. But after he was done with his third edict,
There were 3 other people standing at the head of the class.
Chris Jericho decided to speak next.
Yep.
And apparently what he decided to do was give a rah-rah speech.
Of course.
Kill me. like I told people, I did read the context of what was reported. He said, "Kill me, who cares?" I'm so done with this man. I am so over this man.
Kenny also spoke.
So apparently Kenny was a dick.
Yeah.
So apparently Kenny was just mean. Kenny Omega talking about how they were all being spoiled.
Yep.
And blah 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 blah. And they were lucky to be. They were lucky to be there.
What did Kenny's buddies do? Oh, right. They made themselves baby faces in the locker room by basically all that was reported they said was,
our doors are open.
we're here to talk, guys.
You guys can come talk to us anytime.
So they pretty much threw. First of all, they've never been friends with Jericho. We all know that. But they threw their supposed best friend, soon-to-be tag team championship partner. Yeah, they're winning the tournament, folks. Get over it. But they threw their tag team partner under the bus.
What the fuck was Kenny doing being a dickhead?
Kenny's a star.
Kenny, who the fuck? See, that's the problem.
Yeah.
You know what? Me and Jim Cornette, unfortunately, agree again. That's the fucking... He thinks he's bigger than what he actually is.
Jesse, no one denies that the Elite were over in the indies scene before All Elite.
Absolutely.
But the problem is, Jesse, is that people get this misconstrued. When I say they think they're more over than they are, people will bring up Kenny's run in Japan, the Bucks tag team titles, Mexico, Japan, all these indies. Guys.
As a fan of all that, I can tell you it does not matter that much in America.
But my point is this. When I say they think they're more over,
yeah,
it has nothing to do with the titles you've won. No. It doesn't matter about your match ratings.
Right.
Dave Meltzer's dick sucking means nothing. You think you can talk to them like
he does give the good Gok 3000, by the way.
Yeah. You think that you can talk to them like it's Rock walking into NXT. The Rock walks into NXT, Brian James gives him the floor.
Right.
Because he's the fucking Rock.
Right.
They walk. Kenny Omega, if you tied him up to a lie detector today, would probably tell you in the subset of fans that he has, and I'm not calling them dumb, I'm not calling them stupid,
right,
but the subset of fans, he thinks he's bigger than Dwayne ever was at his peak.
He really thinks he's a bigger star than what he is, and it's ridiculous. It's literally ridiculous.
You know who does deserve that praise, though? A guy like Mitch Paradise. 20, 30 years running through the Midwest, a big guy like that, always been seen to be a great guy to work with.
Let me be clear. They have guys who are bigger in the industry than Kenny Omega is right now.
Yeah, working backstage.
Cesaro's there. Even not, I'm talking about on-air talent.
Oh, yeah.
Cesaro's there right now.
Daniel Bryan's there.
Bryan's there.
Technically Punk?
Samoa Joe.
I'll give you Punk.
He's not a leader.
That's fair.
If he speaks at one of your leader things, you've got no leaders.
That's fair.
You really got no leaders.
That's Samoa Joe.
Samoa Joe.
You could go with Chucky. Chucky's had a pretty good run.
Nah, I wouldn't go with Chucky. He's allowed himself to get fucking buried there.
So it's his own fault. Okay.
It's partially his own fault.
Yeah,
you should definitely speak up on your shit. There's a lot of Chucky fans who feel that way. Like, dude, speak up on your shit, dude.
Okay, so that seems to be
yeah.
Sanjay?
Sanjay is a guy who can speak up.
Jay Lethal.
Jay Lethal for damn sure can speak up. So to me, it's one of those things. When I read that report that Kenny was like all harsh in the locker room, I would have said like, I'm sorry, who the fuck are you? Like, we're in America. Do you actually think the Japan shit matters here? Bro, we're barely drawing over 1 million.
You'd be the worst talent there because you would actually stand up and say, guys, there's a problem here. We're getting our asses kicked by the people that
I would thrive in WWE.
Yeah, yes, you would.
Because Triple H would be like, well, this guy used to get fired by Vince all the time for his honesty, so I fucking love him.
Exactly.
AEW would hate me because I'd be like, wait, who the fuck do you actually think? Like, I respect what you've done.
Yeah.
And I'm a fan of all of that.
You're a New Japan stan.
Yeah.
You are.
But if you think that shit matters here, you're out of your mind.
Chris Jericho, back when he wasn't being allowed to do whatever he wanted, he was right in WWE. AJ Styles had never done anything in WWE. He had done stuff in America,
right,
but he had never done stuff to that audience.
Right.
AJ is now a Hall of Famer in three companies.
And to give Vince a lot of credit,
New Japan would put him in Hall of Fame too, right?
And And to give Vince a ton of credit when it comes to AJ, he presented him as a star immediately. Hey, guys.
From the moment he walked in.
Mega star here. I know a lot of you guys don't know him. You're going to love him.
Now, Vince was hesitant at first,
Yeah,
but again,
he
he'd
was.
never worked with the
Right.
guy.
And that was the one of the few times Triple H got through to him. I'm telling you, you get AJ. He doesn't need to come to me. Put him on the main roster.
Yeah.
Like, the guy's a star.
Because they originally offered him an NXT deal,
Yes.
but Triple H was the one that said, no,
He does not need to be down here.
No.
No,
At all.
I've been watching him. Well, you remember when he first started in TNA?
Yeah.
If you watched wrestling over the years, you know who
But
AJ
again,
is before he
But
even
again,
showed up.
you have to convince Vince that he's worth something,
Right.
Because Vince is going to put a lot of money into this guy,
Right.
And it worked out great, obviously.
Because AJ's, like, the nickname is what he's always been, and that's phenomenal.
Yeah.
So,
But Kenny thinks he's over. The Bucks think it, but they're not going to say it. They're not going to say it.
but to me, it's
They're
worse.
smart on that behalf.
Right. But
I give him that only.
To me, it's worse that Kenny actually believes it, bro. And by the way, so for you guys, you didn't know, I had not gotten the chance to listen to the Kenny and Will Ospreay promo until before we started the show.
Yeah.
This man really believes he's a bigger star than what he actually is.
Is he truly, like, undercover a hardcore Packers fan? Because they're full of himself, too.
They got 13 championships. I can't get mad at them right now.
No, there's some you can get mad at.
I'll be honest, he's from Canada, so I don't even know if he knows shit about American football. But yeah,
He knows the Grey Cup.
The fact that is the guy that tried to give the harsh talk. I'm sorry. If Cody was still there and it was Cody, no problem. Not because he's a guy who fucking gets it. But you? I don't think so.
But Jesse, basically what we're getting at before we get to the good shit, there's a problem backstage, and even though there were a bunch of rumor killers the last couple of days, because let me tell you something, the rumor killer reports are coming out real quick, real fast.
Right.
But Jesse, there's an there's something that we haven't touched on that people need to understand. When this company started, there was one place you went, and it was all AEW positive all the time.
Right.
And it was your former gospel, Mr. Dave Meltzer.
Yes.
And you had a problem with it because Dave was known for being honest, and all of a sudden you noticed, bro, this wasn't that good.
Right.
Maybe maybe it was good, but it wasn't that good.
Like, dude, it's not as good as you're making it out to be.
Right. So when he's the guy who's breaking the stories, who's talking about the issues in the locker room,
Right.
who's talking about Punk, who's talking about Hangman, when he's doing all of this, now all of a sudden these other places who were reporting the quote-unquote negativity last time, now they're getting the positive spin.
Right.
Jesse, do you think that Dave is about to get what he got from WWE, and maybe they're going to start giving him false information because here's the deal. WWE got mad because he broke creative.
Sure.
They're going to get mad because he's breaking their idea that they're not sensitive little assholes.
Right.
Because sorry, boys, you are.
Right.
And, you know, I know Eric has said the Bucks will never do our show, but the fact of the matter is, if their name comes up, they'll find it. You know what it's like. They are the Kevin Durant of professional wrestling.
Yeah,
they will find it.
Yes, they will.
But the thing about it is that, Jesse, when that's the guy who's saying the negative, he's as plugged in as anyone over there. Because
Right.
the Bucks talk to him more than they talk to anyone else.
Right.
He's the first guy they go to. They name their finisher after him. He's done nothing but sort of make them the gods of the tag team division around the world for the last 10 years. It's just, Jesse, it's almost like Dave is becoming real again, but he's about to get blackballed the way WWE did from the only people that still talk to him.
I think Dave will be okay in WWE now because Triple H is not a guy, I think, who cares that much about what gets out.
And that's fair.
Because to be fair, he seems to be doing a better job than Vince ever did.
Yeah. But
and we'll get into what happened
yeah.
on Monday night.
But it's just, there is a situation brewing with the only guy who was your spin doctor for the longest time.
Right.
And Jesse, think about this.
Because really, Sean, to me, Sean Ross Sapp and Fightful have become the gossip to me of pro wrestling. Because
Chris is doing a good job too. Chris is doing a
and
decent
Chris
job.
Van Villa, because their sources, and Ariana, to give him credit.
Yeah.
These guys, their sources, their journalists, is top-notch stuff.
You said last week that you think Steve is listening to us, but you still got some issues with Steve.
Well, because he keeps repeating things I say, and I'm like, man, is he listening to us?
Yeah. Steve, you're welcome on the show.
Look, Steve, Larson, you guys are more than welcome on the show.
100%. But anyway, no, Jesse, think about what happened after Dave reported this.
Right.
It was spin after spin after spin. Thunder Rosa's got a bunch of shit going on. There were reports she was hiding in the bathroom.
So let's get into that.
Yeah.
So that was the last report out of this meeting.
Before we get to that, pause. Couple of months ago,
Yes.
I gave you credit.
Right.
You
Right.
You were going to do the research.
Right,
You were
right,
going to
right,
look
right.
at the situation.
Right.
You didn't see as much as people were
Right.
reporting. But now we're a good 4 to 5 months into this story, Jesse. Something's going on.
So when I went and did my
she is
research,
legitimately hurt. She's confirmed
so
that.
so for those who don't know, she has a bulging disc.
Yeah.
It is a real injury. We hope she gets healthy.
Yep.
Take care of it.
Not much
get
you
healthy.
can do except for physical therapy
Right.
and rest.
Right.
Is basically
And
all you can do.
She had to pull herself off of her indie dates as well. So it's a legitimate injury.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
so apparently, the stuff with her and Britt Baker this whole time,
Yeah.
like I said, I went and I was looking for stuff. So once again, great job by Sean Ross Sapp and these guys to get this information.
Yeah.
Because I don't know which wrestler they plucked it from, but good for them.
Yeah.
I
And
hope
those
we can
guys,
become
and those guys will keep their sources
right. I hope I can become more plugged in like they are because I'm like, man, I was searching and couldn't find this shit.
Yeah.
So apparently, while they can work professionally together,
Yeah.
they absolutely hate each other.
They can't stand the sight of it.
Now, funny enough, I alluded to this last year
You did.
because I said I'm watching a match with them, and while they're great in a ring together, there's clearly real animosity
Yeah.
because clearly there's something about each other that they don't like about each other.
Yeah.
But I was like, I can't put my finger on exactly what it is. So a lot of the girls felt like she was sandbagging some of the girls sometimes if they missed a spot in a match or stuff like that.
Yeah.
So during one of the promos, of course, when people, which by the way, Brett, I get the joke, and maybe you thought your audience was smart enough to get it, but even people who are in the know about pro wrestling at the time didn't understand why they brought sandbags to a stage.
Yeah.
Like, you have to really be a nerd about this shit like I am to know what the fuck that is.
But see, Jesse, that's the other part people don't get. Jim has said, not only is this a hardcore niche fan base
Right.
of a subset of what people think wrestling is,
Right.
it's a bunch of people that are there for the new hottest thing on the internet.
Right.
That's what it is.
Right.
So, Jesse, they have a large audience that doesn't get the terminology. They think they're smart fans. They're really not.
No.
Because the truth is that when you talk to a lot of these people, in all the chats that we're in, Reddit, this, that, I hate you for getting me down that rabbit hole. But Serena Williams needs money when she's not going to play tennis anymore, so I got to give her husband something. But here's the deal. Jesse, these people, when you talk to them, you realize they don't know what they're really talking about.
No.
They're defending AEW, which is fine.
Right.
But when you try to bring up pro wrestling logic, which has not changed in the 100+ year history of it,
Right.
they don't know what you're talking about. Because they revert back to the same defense stuff that's on Twitter, that's on Facebook.
Right.
No, folks, I'm trying to be very clear. When I say your boys ain't over, I ain't talking about Tokyo Dome matches. I ain't talking about small, because they were, and I'm on a DVD, I'm happy for it, but small Ring of Honor shows. The Bucks and Kenny are not over in America. They're
No.
just not.
Right.
Hell, Mexico barely gives a shit about these guys.
Well, Mexico just shows up, though.
True.
Well, yeah.
It's part of the culture.
Like, Mexico is like the Chicago of wrestling, except it's a whole country. Like,
Yeah.
like seriously, they love pro wrestling. Almost like UK. Like, they will show up for pro wrestling.
Like I said, Cardiff was never not going to sell out. It didn't matter if it was WWE or if it was
Right,
AEW.
right.
Like, they just like wrestling over there.
Right.
That
So
island is just like, we're going to...
they're gonna be there.
Oh, yeah.
They're gonna be there.
yeah.
But it's just, Jesse, when you talk to these people, you can't even call them smarks as much anymore because you realize that even the smark audience, it's very niche.
Yeah, it is.
It's smaller than I would say out of the average of the 750 to 800,000 they
Right.
do, I would say only half of them are actual wrestling fans who just got mad at Vince. The rest of them, they're casual,
Right.
but they're not casual sports fans.
Right.
They're casual. This is the new hottest thing. It's in the Hot Topics. It's here. It's
Right,
there. It's
right.
But as soon as the T-shirts come off the shelves, the ratings dip. As soon as the Hot Topic contract isn't selling shirts like crazy,
Right.
because by the way, folks, I'll say it, and I used to love the store. Hot Topic's become a shell of what it once was.
Oh,
They
I
just-
mean, it's
they just-
it's a mainstream store now.
yeah, no, 100%. It's no longer what it was.
They got some fun shirts there.
Yeah, but I'm just like,
Well, yeah, but
when
if
I
you-
was shopping there as a teenager, like,
That's where I bought my CDs because I couldn't find them.
I was
anywhere
about to
else.
say, like, unless you were emo, alt rock, just kind of alternative,
Yeah.
kind of like most people, I would walk in that store and the fact that the parents were shocked that the kids knew who I was.
Yeah.
And that's just because I was in the music scene up here.
Yeah.
But because otherwise you didn't see too many black kids walking in there. But I was a metalhead, so
Yeah.
I was in there for my shirts,
Jesse'll-
my stuff.
Jesse can look at my 700 CDs right now,
Yeah.
and he'll point to at least 5 CDs, and he'll tell you, great album,
right.
but you weren't finding it at Best Buy.
No,
you weren't
No.
finding it on Amazon.
You had to get that from Hot Topic.
You got that from Hot Topic. And he knows the 5 that I'm talking
yeah.
about. But the thing about it is that Jesse, Tony is a numbers guy, but he apparently is ignoring the fact that they don't know who you are.
I mean, listen, the fact that
And
you
Thunder
get over
Rosa-
a million once in a while is a good thing, but the egos that have built. So, of course, I talked about the sandbagging thing.
Yeah.
So here's the thing. If you're Thunder Rosa, and by the way, apparently it's always been half and half, is that a lot of the younger girls who work within the system, Kylan King, a lot of that stuff, they love Thunder Rosa in the sense that, she's always willing to teach, work, put them over in the indies if she has to.
Yeah.
Really, really help them out, which is
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, the AEW originals have always seen her, because sometimes of her ego, that I'm Thunder Rosa. I get what I want. F you. If you don't give me what I want, I don't want to
The
deal with
sad
you.
part about this is,
I didn't mean to cut
No,
you off.
yeah.
We were also during the lunch talking about the Eva Lise incident.
yeah.
Now,
Oh, yeah.
I think what a lot of the girls seem to not understand, and I don't know, I think Britt's actual frustration with her is just working with her, dealing with her.
Yeah.
But for the other girls, I shouldn't say the girls, but for the other ladies, I don't think they understand. Her and Eva Lise always, unfortunately, had them issues.
Yeah, no, that's a long
That's been going on for like 4 or 5 years,
Right.
because Eva Lise sometimes is very unprofessional.
Yeah.
So go ahead.
But the thing that, the saddest part about this is Tony's created the problem because he listened to his EVPs and he got a lot of girls that maybe Stardom could have made something out of you in 4 years. But she was arguably the best when she did it the day she walked in.
Because she was getting recognition because of her work with NWA and Billy Corgan.
Yeah.
And because they, by the way, and the numbers on Dark and Elevation are okay for YouTube.
And they're actually
if we-
starting to recap it, which
Right,
is
right,
like,
which-
hey, are you listening to us? Because could you at least tell us?
Right.
Yeah.
If we got to the numbers, we'd be staggering happy for our small little podcast.
Yeah.
But NWA, when it went live, usually had about 20,000 people watching live.
Mm-hmm.
When they would put out the show.
And the replays went very well.
Right. And of course, Power was only about an hour.
Right.
In 5 minutes.
Yeah.
So as soon as they put up the show, 20,000 of us are watching it.
Yeah.
That's big time on the internet. That's pretty huge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So she was getting that recognition because of Billy Corgan doing that, which now he's going back to.
Yeah.
Thank you, Billy.
Yes.
By the way, they just had a pay-per-view. It was awesome finding on
Matt
Fight
Cardona
TV.
was a genius.
Matt Camille has really come into her own. Hopefully, she's at
as
Women
great as
of
that show
Nations.
was,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Matt Cardona stole the show because everything he did on that show was pitch perfect.
I don't see how he does not end up back in WWE at some point as a main eventer.
Right.
He's almost he's literally not the wrestling term worked his way. He's literally worked his way into being a main eventer if he went back to WWE.
Oh, yeah.
Because everyone will know who he is.
Yeah.
Dude.
Oh, yeah.
Even if you bring him back as Zack Ryder, hey, this guy's a main eventer now. And Triple H is like, yeah, I got to push him to the moon.
Yeah.
But so There were a couple of sandbag incidents, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Apparently, there was one with Chris Statlander. I can neither confirm nor deny, but that's one of the rumored ones. When Jamie Hayter got her nose broken, apparently the story is like Thunder Rosa was told that because Jamie Hayter's a big girl. Damn it, Jim Cornette. She's a larger woman. I gotta start listening, Jim. And he's Southern, so they mean no harm when they say girl when they're talking about women. But as a Northerner, I know that's not what you say. But yeah, you're about 6'1", got a lot. Like I told people, I've watched her in the UK, stocky, like muscle on muscle. And apparently a threat was sent out that she would be looking to fight Thunder Rosa. Well, Thunder is a very small little Mexican woman, very hot, but very small.
Yes. Oh, yes.
Probably could not take them shots from her. She came after her.
Nope.
And apparently hid in a bathroom for an hour and a half. Really?
Yeah.
You're supposed to be the women's champion. Now,
like I said, high school shit.
Now, the only thing that we know about is that because of these incidents and everything happening before the injury was reported, that the rumor is that Thunder Rosa would actually had agreed to actually drop the title at All Out to Toni Storm.
Yep.
Side note. I am sorry, Wrestling Internet. I am sorry, IWC. And I'll be happy if she does win it at All Out in this Fatal 4-Way. But you could have already been smacked. You could have already been where Liv is right now.
Yep.
Uh-huh.
Well, but Jesse, you reported, and no offense to Liv because she has put in the work.
Right.
Liv got Tony's spot. We all know that.
Yeah,
right.
Liv Morgan would still be basically where Doudrop and Nikki ASH are right now, which Triple H is trying to fix.
Right.
But he's got so much else on his folks. Folks, you can't build everybody every week.
It's very tough.
It's a slow process. But the thing is that she'd be fucking Liv Morgan right now.
Yes.
And she'd be more over because, no offense, Liv, Toni Storm was more over than you were.
Also, the fact that they seem to have given Ashley, Charlotte Flair, the okay to be as gone as you like to be.
Ample time.
So he's really building that women's division. So when the four horsewomen are gone or Ronda's gone, they still have stars there.
Yeah.
So but only reason I digress to that point is because I'm like, you could have already been a women's champion in a wrestling company, a major one.
Mm-hmm.
I get that you needed the time to go home.
Yeah.
Just take the time to go home and then anyway.
Well, you know the funny part is we talk about that was still the Vince era, right?
Yeah.
If you call him and you talk to him like a goddamn person, he would have said go home.
Right.
Because by the way, Vince did that long before Hunter was in charge,
Oh,
before anybody else. Vince had been doing that for years.
He's done that for a lot of guys, especially recently.
Yeah.
Like, hey, you know what? You're having kind of a mental crisis. If that's how you're feeling, go ahead, take a couple weeks.
Or do you think that Vince actually got mental health more than people ever gave him credit for?
I think what also helped was the fact because because of the way Triple H handled the NXT talent.
Yeah.
Apparently, that was one of the things he did take from it was if wrestlers are having those issues, how to handle it. So he had been a lot better about it.
Yeah.
But like I said, I'm gonna be happy for her if she wins the Fatal 4-Way.
Yep.
But damn.
But by the way, based on their standards, I gotta be real, guys. She'll be the interim women's champion.
Which is
because we can't just say
so
the
dumb.
champion is hurt, relinquish the title for 30 because you can't defend it in 30. Like, it's the oldest bullshit in wrestling that we still believe is the 30 days and you're out.
I'm confused. Roman had to relinquish when his leukemia came back. Am I correct?
Yes.
yeah, he did that. Yeah.
Edge had to relinquish when he retired.
Yep.
Shawn had to relinquish.
He did when he lost his smile.
Mm-hmm.
Fucking one of the worst fucking stories ever.
I still can't believe they told that story.
Oh my god!
I'm sorry.
I lost my smile. No, motherfucker, you needed help for your drug issues. But when he lost his smile.
Yep.
So what is so wrong with just I'm injured.
Oh, by the way,
I
Cody
can't
was
defend.
out for 7 days.
No. So you couldn't have just pushed the match a couple of weeks.
A week.
Yeah.
He was healthy by Sunday.
So you couldn't have just waited a week.
Yep.
This is the reason why if you're not a wrestling guy, and listen, I'm rooting for Tony Khan as I talk about all the time.
Yeah.
That's why I'm not as harsh as my guy Leroy is, but I root for him. But you couldn't.
You and Tony Khan need to have a conversation because Tony Khan will listen to you. He will. Because you'll be so harsh, it'll all be.
No, not really. He'd be, what do you say?
You must.
It's like, I just punch him in the head and walk away.
I don't understand. So
just punch him in the head and walk away. That's all we do.
Because I don't. This is why I don't understand why not put good wrestling people around you already.
Interim works in MMA
Right.
because it creates for better fights.
Right.
But in wrestling, because it's a work,
Right.
you can build fights.
It's literally the worst thing New Japan ever did.
Was interim.
Was interim.
Yeah.
Because as great as Shingo was, New Japan stands will tell you his run wasn't that. It didn't feel that legit.
They weren't booking it legit because they knew they were going to have him lose when was it Jay came back? No, Ospreay dropped
I think it was Ospreay who had to drop it because of injury.
Yeah.
So you knew that.
Yeah.
And it didn't work.
Yeah.
And they very rarely have done that. Why would you take that idea from New Japan and think you should always do it?
Jesse, you've been saying it for the last 3 months. They take as many ideas from New Japan. Sadly, it's all the bad ideas.
It really is all the bad ones. So
they take it, try to stick it in the wall, and I think it sticks, and then it falls.
The only good idea they've taken
Right.
was basically creating their version of Yano with Danhausen, but Danhausen's not on the show enough.
Well, Danhausen was already good though before he got there.
But
but to give him the opportunity was the idea, is what I'm saying, because we love Danhausen because Danhausen is the guy who will look at you and say,
very evil, very nice.
I do this for human monies.
Yeah.
He's at least admitting what the gimmick is.
There we go. Well, and with Thunder Rosa, I mean, what was it? Have we found out what the injury was?
It's a
bulging disc.
It's a bulging disc in her back.
Okay. So
if
it was something simple where they could actually have a match, when then Tony actually could drop the belt to Tony, but
that's not happening.
With the bulging disc,
not
probably not a good idea for her to wrestle.
But again,
drop the title and have everybody go for the tournament.
I'm going to say the thing that no wrestling fan wants to hear. It's still scripted, guys. Just take the title from her. I'm sorry, but Jesse's literally making that point, but he's saying it in wrestling terms. Let's just be the bare bones about it. It's a work.
Yeah.
If you take the title, what does it really mean?
Nothing.
She has no title like a boxer does to say you are the champ.
Right.
Like people are being like, well, the Gypsy King's coming back. He was still the champ.
Right.
He never gave the belts back.
No.
He was still the like 3 different companies heavyweight champ.
Yeah,
the big one is WBO World Heavyweight Champion.
Yeah, exactly. But the thing is that he technically said I was retiring, but we all knew, Jesse, that was to build a number for the next fight.
Right,
And he had to go away for other reasons, which we're not going to get into.
Right.
But Jesse, well, first of all, boxing's corrupt as shit. We know that. But especially the top.
More than corrupt.
But the thing is, Jesse, that's not a work. Those guys have legitimate contracts.
Right.
This is a work.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
Just take the belt from her.
Yeah, it's like they're doing their pay-per-view. It's like, okay, she has to drop her belt, and then at the pay-per-view, was it having a fatal 4-way for that?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, have a fatal 4-way for the belt.
You are the new
and
champion.
drop it to Tony and say, you're the new champ. That's real easy. Very easy.
Which, by the way, sadly, they're listening to you, but they're putting the goddamn interim tag. So basically, you're waiting for a disc. First of all, Punk in the foot. We'll get into that here in a second. Foot. That's one thing. It's the back. We have no idea how long she's out.
Yeah, and I have a bad back too.
Like this is Jesse. This is like saying we tore the ACL. Oh, we'll see you in a month to put on a fucking wrestling clip.
No. See, in wrestling, if something's wrong with your back, that's not good because most of your bumps are taken on your back.
Because that's the safe place to take the bump.
Oh, yeah.
So, look, apparently you guys, quote unquote, knew more than we did, and Punk was not going to be out for 8 months, which he probably should have been. Now we'll talk about that in a second.
Yeah.
But this back thing, it's 8 months before a doctor clears her to fucking run the ropes. Forget about taking a back bump.
Right.
I know. I have a bad back, and when that hurts and I do something.
And what is your massage? And what does your therapist tell you?
My chiropractor?
Yeah, your chiropractor after they do the work, they say take a load off.
Yeah,
Don't
do
anything.
this. And I ask, hey, what should I do? And she gives me advice of what I should do.
Jesse, what's the worst sport in the world to not do anything of? Probably pro wrestling.
Yeah.
To basically do nothing.
Yeah.
They don't even let you get back in the WWE ring until you take a few bumps off
Right.
the ropes a few times.
Well, because you have to make sure you can do it.
Yeah.
Listen, we've built rings.
Yes.
And for those of you guys who have not and have maybe not ever seen the process of it,
Then hand it back to Jesse. Oh, that was good.
yeah, is
You've read that one?
I don't. We'll get to this in a second. I don't need to read this. It's just who he is as a person.
Yeah.
but it's one of those things where guys underneath the mat, quote unquote, the very thin fucking mat, by the way.
Which by the way, let me point this out because
Mark.
I'm not breaking anyone's heart with this. I'm not giving away secrets. We put it together with a roll of duct tape we bought down the street.
So sometimes you do.
So yeah.
Sometimes the duct tape goes missing because a lot of shit goes in the back of the trailer,
Right.
and we have to find the closest gas station to buy a roll of duct tape.
Yeah, it's like there's not much there.
It's literally not even half an inch of mat.
No,
No.
So
it's
you're-
not.
So and
The
underneath
wood underneath
all
is
underneath
thicker.
the mat
It's cordwood.
is wood.
It's little cordwood.
Yeah.
You want to know what's worse? If you've ever looked at WWE's mat,
Yeah.
it's even thinner.
Yep.
Yeah.
So that means you're basically taking bumps or you're taking hits to the back on wood.
We
Yeah.
normally set up about an 18-footer. That's what they normally use.
Right,
around
right,
here.
right.
Yeah.
There's 24 boards.
Yeah.
Let me explain something. They're numbered specifically for a reason because if they're not in the correct order, then they're too stiff, and then you hit it, and it's like, oh boy.
Oh yeah.
So if she has a bulging disc, she's going to be back for a long while.
Yeah.
What the fuck is the point of having an interim
And you know,
champion?
and this is what I say.
I'm calling it right now. She will have that interim tag till fucking Easter. Minimum, it'll be till Easter before they either make the decision to drop it,
Yeah.
or Thunder Rosa comes back and somehow, some way does a small job.
Okay.
It'll be a 3-minute dumpster fire
Right.
like the one we're about to talk about.
This, and I will say this, AEW, they want more fans. They want somebody like me who watches WWE and
Yeah.
all the other stuff to start watching AEW more. Okay. When you go, we're going to have an interim championship, the first thought in my head is, again?
Pause on that note. Pause on
I
that note
hate it, yeah.
because you bring up something very unique that Jesse and I are going to talk about here for a second, and you can be a part of it as well.
Yeah,
Jesse,
I hope so.
right now, there's a side thing in sports. Primetime Deion Sanders recently came out, and he's not happy with the NFL Hall of Fame because he basically thinks everyone gets in now for longevity. It's not the Hall of Great; it's the Hall of Very Good. But you and I have argued another sport that is desperate for fans right now: baseball.
Sure.
They have the opposite problem. They don't put enough people in, so people don't think the
Yes.
Hall of Fame means anything.
Right.
Yeah.
So there's an argument to be made that Prime makes sense, but at the same time, you have to understand that the game that we're in now, because as far as I'm concerned, I don't know what about you guys, but in my opinion, as short as his career was, Luke Kuechly, Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
One of the best
Oh,
middle
yeah.
linebackers I ever watched play the game.
Oh, yeah.
But Jesse, he didn't change the game. He was just very instinctual. But we're in an era where the game's not changing that much anymore.
I will also say this about baseball though, because we've talked about this before. While they're good comparisons, there's also contextual issues with the comparisons.
Yeah.
In the sense that baseball is also at its own fault for the reason people see it the way they do.
No, I'm not saying that baseball's not at fault,
Right.
but you're at fault not admitting the steroid era happened. Leroy just said it.
Right.
You're admitting that the champion is not the champion.
Right.
The steroid era happened.
Right.
You can put him in the Hall of Fame, give him a bust, whatever, but just put the asterisk. No one cares.
Right.
But at
Oh,
least
yeah.
but at least kids learn the game. They learn the history.
Right.
They get it. But at least football tells you, yeah, this guy may not be the best left tackle that ever played, but Joe Thomas didn't miss a snap in God knows how many years.
And he was an All-Pro.
That's got to
and-
mean something.
Right.
All-decade players
Right.
make the Hall of Fame in the NFL
Right.
because you were the best for 10 years.
Right.
So I get where Prime is coming from, but the baseball argument is the reason why the NFL's not listening to Prime.
The only reason I actually ended up disagreeing with Prime and why baseball is just always will be wrong. Fucking 40 years of this shit with baseball, and they're just never right. And it's amazing because there's still some very famous people who vote for the Baseball Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
But Skip Bayless is not anymore.
No.
But there's some other ones who have, and every time they get on a debate show with the young person, they're just like, you guys have been wrong about this for 40 years. And you wonder why no one wants to watch in the summer.
Can I also
There
point
you go.
something
Put
out?
Pete Rose in the Hall of Fame. God damn it.
I was about to get there. Who is the all-time hit king?
Pete
Pete
Rose.
Rose.
Who is still one of the faces of the golden age of baseball?
Probably Pete Rose.
Okay. Pete Rose is the all-time hit king, right?
Yeah.
When did he make his little federal issue? As a manager.
Right.
Yeah.
So don't put him in as a manager, but at least acknowledge that the hit king belongs in the goddamn Hall of Fame.
Right.
And he admitted, hey, I screwed up. He
Not to
apologized.
mention the fact, I'm not here to make
Whatever.
that debate, but for anyone that doesn't know, I'm going to make this very clear. He bet on them to win.
Yes,
so
he
he was
did.
trying.
Right.
He didn't shave points.
No.
This isn't the Black Sox scandal.
No.
That's not a racist comment. That like they
No, that's what it's
That's
called.
what
That's
they
actually what it's
called
called,
them,
folks.
yeah.
That's
That's
what
not a
the
racist
White
comment.
Sox were called the Black Sox back
Yeah.
way back in the
way
day.
back in the day. But the point is, you are confusing your fan base. One thing Vince has never done is confuse his fan base. The booking, I get it.
The booking did.
I get it.
Yeah.
But Jesse, you're not confused on who the bad guy is, who the good guy is.
No.
The story just sucked.
And see,
So back to wrestling.
and
Tony.
with AEW, I'm not confused. I'm more irritated.
Now, the reason why I told Jesse with MMA and boxing interim works, because it's not a work.
Right.
Because Jesse, you know as well as I do, the champion did nothing wrong.
Right.
It was an injury.
Right.
But boxing also knows one thing, and Floyd Mayweather became the master of it.
Oh, yeah.
You need to build big-time money fights.
Right.
So when you have the guy coming back that said, I never lost,
Right.
it sells pay-per-view buys.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. You're right.
So here's the deal, Tony. Your fans know it's a work.
Yeah.
Just take the belt away so when a casual person comes in, they're like, Tony Storm, she's probably a big deal. Let's go to Stardom. Let's go to WWE
Right.
where they treated her like a star, at least in NXT.
Right.
Actually, they were treating her like a star in general. She just went home. But the thing about it is, sports fans are not complicated.
No.
We only ask that you stick to about a certain amount of rules. Now, the freaking feminazis that are asking me and Jesse to fix the WNBA, that's another conversation for another day. Because you know what? You ain't even watching either. So we
That's
actually watch
true.
WNBA basketball when there's nothing else on. So we actually contribute to these ratings.
To be
Yeah.
fair, sometimes it's very bad.
Yes.
When you got some good athletes.
When
in
your
there.
all-rookie team has a girl on it who averaged 0.4 minutes a game, that's a rough thing to sell to sports fans.
So you can look at
No
it, it's
offense
like,
to her, but like that's a
Right,
bad, that's a
right,
bad
right,
look
right.
for sports
and
fans.
if Tony wants to look at what WWE did with Roman Reigns, he gave up his title.
He
He
did.
had to step away because of leukemia.
Yep.
And then he came back.
We get it. Vince
that
forgot
was a
about.
huge.
Right.
We get it. Vince
Pop.
forgot about Shinsuke for 9 months. We get it. All right.
That's it.
Like shit happens with Vince. He's old.
But it's like, you want ratings?
By the way, he had other stuff on his mind.
Yeah, I know.
We've now come to find
well,
out.
yes.
Clearly.
you want ratings and numbers. It's like, yeah, Thunder Rosa, hey, I got to go because this happened, whatever. Boom, get it somebody else. And then she comes back. Is it going to be a huge pop?
Yes.
Is it going to get you numbers
But
other
here's
than the
what
crap
Triple
you're doing?
H already.
Yes.
But here's what Triple
now
H
he's not
already
that
knows.
smart.
And Jesse, we haven't had this conversation.
Well, yeah, Triple
yet,
H knows this.
Well, no. This is something different. We've
Okay.
already had this conversation, but we haven't talked about it yet in the show. Triple H knows one thing. When I debut Karrion Kross at the end of the show, that's so my number pops next week. It's not about this week's number. That's
Right.
next week's number.
Right.
Tony thinks I'm going to announce it. I'll pop this week. What if Thunder Rosa comes back? No one knows about it. Now you've popped for the next week.
Right.
Yeah.
Like Jesse said, the pay-per-view buy is going to be good anyway. What if you waited till another pay-per-view to debut her, and then the number pops for your cable television?
Right.
There you go.
Like, this is simple mathematics that doesn't make any sense.
Well,
Jim
yeah.
Cornette fucking said this way back when the ratings war started. What you do this week is for your rating next week.
Yeah,
Right.
because with Karrion, he came at the end. Boom. It's like, holy crap.
You-
what is he doing
When was the
Monday?
last?
Right.
Karrion Kross
What is he
beat
gonna
up
do
Drew.
Friday?
When was the last time you were waiting for a Friday Night SmackDown that heavy?
Man.
It had been a while.
Oh yeah.
You didn't. It had been a while.
Probably after the Fiend showed up to beat up Vince in the arena.
And and right now it's the Dexter Loomis thing for Raw and NXT. It's like what
a touching moment.
I know that was so lovely.
What an absolute.
They're leaving.
I popped.
He got his lady back, damn it.
The note of love, but it's like.
But he couldn't have her suffer for his choices.
I know.
Right.
But it's like
He loves her.
But you look at that as like, this is weird.
Now you want to know where he is.
It's weird shit with Loomis and the Miz. Thank God Miz is okay. He's gonna be back on Monday.
We don't know. We haven't seen this.
Oh no.
No. They announced.
They did announce.
They
that
found him alive.
That's fair.
Yeah,
he'll be
that's
back.
fair, yeah.
He'll be back to face Bobby Lashley
for the U.S. title. He's
I-
gonna get killed.
I'm very interested on how Triple
Miz.
H is going to tell the story tomorrow.
Yeah, it's gonna be real fun. But
and the Miz with his gigantic balls will be all right.
So it was funny because
Massive.
they announced
Massive.
massive,
Okay,
ball.
massive
So
balls.
when they announced that match,
Go
by the
ahead,
way,
shirt.
Leroy, it was funny.
Sorry.
Twitter, I give wrestling Twitter this. They came up with some really funny stuff
they really did.
because they were like, so
Loomis was scared of
Dexter
his
Loomis
massive
plays
balls.
the cat. No, they were like Dexter Loomis basically plays the cat and mouse game. So he caught Miz, played with him a little bit, and was like, "All right, I'll release you because I'm gonna get you again."
We have put it off, but it is now time to get to the biggest news backstage. Jesse, did Philip come back a little too early? Are we being worked, or do you think there's something to this? Because, ladies and gentlemen, we had an interesting moment this past Dynamite, and we're going to jump to the middle of the show. I know it's strange, but we're going to
Do
jump.
you have the results?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
I
I
can look
can.
them up this week. I actually got them.
Okay.
But anyway,
You got him?
But anyway, before we get an hour and 54 minutes into Dynamite this week, we
He said an hour and 54 minutes, like it's 3 hours long.
About 54 minutes
About
into the
54
show.
minutes in.
We're
it
not
feels like
talking
3
about.
hours. It feels like 3 hours.
That's what she said
By
too.
the way,
Shit.
apparently my Hulu glitched and it said 3 hours because Rampage followed it. Apparently.
Oh, okay. Well,
So-
yeah, that
so-
would make,
so I'm
that
just-
would make all the sense in the world.
But anyway, no, it's an interesting thing here.
I'm at
three-
about a 50-50 with this being a work
54
or
minutes
not.
in, gentlemen, we have the movie Major League starts playing. And it goes
Great movie.
on and
Fucking
on
great
and
movie.
on and on. The whole song has to be played so we can get the royalty check in.
Charlie
John
Sheen
Moxley,
comes out.
John Moxley took.
Sorry.
John Moxley took longer than Rick Vaughn did to walk from the bullpen to the mound and do the warm-up pitches.
You know, for a guy that was talking shit about WWE, he sure takes he takes longer than fucking Roman to get to the ring. What is he doing?
Yeah, pooping?
Well, he's in the parking lot, so maybe.
Well, yeah, he dresses in the
We
parking
can't
lot
get
in
the
his
interim
car.
world
So wait,
champion on
every
dressing room.
week this guy
And he doesn't have a
gets
locker.
dressed in the damn street outside?
To be fair, now you're sounding like Jim because he says that every week.
I think so.
Uh,
They can't get him a locker room for some reason.
you know what? I'm going to hit up the Jim Cornette show and see if he wants to get on because I got a feeling we're going to unfortunately agree on a lot of things.
Yeah, that's right. That'd be the
That-
greatest show ever. But anyway, so So
could we go
Moxley-
on from there? I don't know.
So Moxley gets to the ring, and in that amount of time, they filmed the movie Rookie of the Year.
Right.
And Punk's already
and they do
there.
part 2.
Punk's already there. He's doing his shtick that he's done his whole life. 2 hands in the air, best in the world in the corner. We got fans chanting. We do the long intro. The commentators are trying to hype it up.
Shorter than
This
Kenny
week,
Omega's.
Excalibur was actually hilariously trying to get in the plugs because the
Right.
main event was the best. Was
Right.
hilarious.
And Moxley bleeded about 3
Um,
times before he got to the ring.
Moxley bled, got the stitches, got them out in the amount of time it took for this intro, and then
Really?
That sounds
and
about right.
then the bell rung, and they did the stare down, kind of Vince's WWE. Like Vince and WWE really milked that for a little bit. The territories didn't really milk it. You got right into the action.
Right,
You know,
right.
It is what it is. But anyway, so they milk it. They get into a collar elbow tie up. This was a good start because it was stiff. They pushed back. They did this. They did that. Fast forward, not 3 hours, not 30 minutes, but
About 5?
3 minutes.
Oh, 3 minutes.
2 minutes and 47 seconds to be exact. Moxley has hit his finisher twice and pinned CM Punk.
Why does he have to hit it twice? Oh, because Punk's the best in the world.
So
Never mind.
already I can tell me and you are going to disagree.
No. We're not. You want to know why? Because, Jesse, you were right last week. You predicted They were going to get the belt off of him. For whatever reason he's going home, he's probably going home. Because, folks, if he actually is hurt, he ain't coming back next Sunday for All Out. There's no chance in hell. And if he isn't hurt, they sold it so well. Really? So we're just going to make AB in the lounge right that everyone gets hurt in a wrestling show. They're back the next week.
Right.
We're basically just going to make that happen.
Right.
But basically, no, I'm going to give it over to Jesse. Jesse, I'm just explaining what happened. I'm going to let you explain the situation. But I'm just explaining to our lovely audience that specifically is what happened. You may now speak.
This match has been done twice in WWE. So for those who don't know,
Which ones?
Brock Lesnar once faced Goldberg.
He
and
did.
we all thought this would be probably a 10-minute match, especially Goldberg. He's old.
Oh, that's when he
But-
came back and he.
Right. But
speared
Goldberg
him, yeah.
instead whooped his ass in like 2 minutes, 50 seconds, and we were all sitting there like a black dude after they hear somebody get insulted. Oh, shit, what the fuck has happened? What the fuck? So he gets in the ring.
What was the
They
second
lock
match?
up. Huh?
What was the second match?
Oh, and then the second WWE match.
Was that also Brock? Was that the Brock Kofi situation?
It was Brock Kofi.
Brock gets put in a lot of awkward situations.
Well, it was Brock Kofi and then Brock
Goldberg.
John Cena.
Okay, yeah.
So
That the Kofi one, that was even as
that
the poor white boy sitting here watching it.
let's
be
be
like,
clear.
Yeah,
That was
he got his ass knocked out.
to be fair. That was 3 moves and done.
That,
CM Punk actually got more fight than what Kofi unfortunately
was
got.
3 moves of doom.
Kofi
No
got-
pun intended whatsoever. It
Kofi
was
literally
horrible.
got German punched in the face. F5'd. It was over.
Yeah.
Poor Kofi. He deserved better than that.
I know. Not time to even poop with that one.
So even if he would have taken another ass whooping from Brock, he deserved better than that.
He deserved at least a 10-minute ass.
Right. At least let him earn the ass whooping for 10 minutes. Come on, man.
Kind of like when Brock was like sending Cena to Suplex City over and over.
And by the way,
over
apparently
again.
Brock actually had no problem with working with Kofi. That was all of Vince McMahon's decision to do that match that
Yeah,
quick.
yeah.
But yeah, so they do the lockup.
Yep.
And then when in the corner, John gets physical immediately. He starts beating the shit out of him in the corner, like stiff shots.
Stiff.
So the ref bumps him out, and he's like, "Hey, you do it again, I'm gonna DQ you." And he's just like, "Whatever." And he he like walks around
And
the
when
ref.
it's champion versus champion, folks, the rules kind of don't apply.
Right,
in the sense that you lose the
Right,
title.
right.
Like the title's on the line.
So
Oh yeah.
It's a unification.
So then he goes to mock CM Punk, like, come hit me. So CM Punk starts hitting him with some stiff shots, including some knees and some kicks, and gets him to the other corner, right? And then there's like a little like clothesline exchange, or there's shots exchange, and then Punk does a round kick, which I gotta agree with Bobby Fish was one of the worst round kicks I've seen ever.
I got a black belt and I could have done a better one.
For those who don't know, Zach
I'm wearing a black belt, and I
Zach
probably
is-
could do a better
Right,
one.
Zach is actually a certified black belt. Was in the paper here in town. Look it up. The guy is legit. It was one of the worst round kicks I've ever seen in my fucking life.
No. It was a great staged round
Yeah.
kick. Like, folks,
Okay,
that's the
okay.
kind of round kick that Peter Griffin does on Family Guy. and it's his Roadhouse.
Roadhouse.
An actual round kick,
Then
So
then he left.
this is the type of kick
afterwards.
that you do because you're trying to sell a moment in a
right.
Yeah.
in a stage
So
thing.
he kicks Mox. Mox goes down, but then he starts selling that maybe he just
And by the way,
ripped
to
a
be
muscle
fair,
on his other
Bobby
foot.
Fish is as legit as they come.
Oh,
Which
yeah,
is
yeah.
why his because by the way, apparently he sent that tweet during the match.
He did, yeah.
I'm like, there really is no control backstage.
Well, but to be fair, by the time he sent the tweet, the match was over.
That is
because
true.
John seen him holding the foot, and now John Moxley just starts beating the shit out of Punk.
Yeah.
This is where I start really enjoying the match because I'm like, John is either John is shooting on this dude right now, or this is
As
going to
long
be the
as
greatest
they
squash
beat the
ever.
shit out of CM Punk,
I'm happy.
Or the Bucks get cucked in their
I'm
own company.
happy.
Jesse's happy with Dynamite.
I'm good.
Yeah.
They
And
get cut or they no.
Cucked. They got cucked in their own company.
That's right.
They get their ass handed to them
That's
and beat the
right.
hell out of them, and then they get cut.
That's right.
To be fair, I don't think Jesse would have enjoyed a Bucks beatdown as much as he enjoyed that segment with the Dark
No,
Order.
Because here's the thing. That was phenomenal. Here's the thing.
Jim liked it too, by the way, because he said it was the stupidest shit he
It
ever
was the
seen.
dumbest, but the greatest shit I've
It
ever
was
seen.
There
so
we go.
good.
It was so fucking bad.
Yep.
So he's elbowing him, and then he hits the first Death Rider, and I'm like, Okay.
Which, by the way, was called the paradigm shift when we
Yeah.
first got to
Right, right,
AEW,
right.
but now we're just changing moves in the middle of
I'm
fucking nothing.
going to call it the Death Rider because I think New Japan's got the name of it
Hold
right.
on.
Why are they
pause.
changing the name?
Because Mox, I think, changed it in another company, did it for something else.
Because technically New Japan didn't want to have a spat with AEW about the name of the fucking thing, so they asked them to name it differently.
Oh, okay, all right.
Although New Japan did get their comeuppance when they had to apologize to JR with that whole Will Ospreay situation, which we'll get to in a little bit.
So he starts walking around his John Moxley walk. He does the gun point, then he hits him with another one. 1, 2, 3. And I literally went, oh my God, did that just happen? I'm like, is CM Punk gone? I'm like,
You were all of a sudden like, stop making me right. I really don't want to be this right anymore because you said on our show you think this match was not on the pay-per-view because they were gonna do it and get Punk out of there.
I'm like, they're gonna whoop CM Punk. I'm like, Tony Khan actually might punish CM Punk and then just be like, go take a vacation. I'm like, dude, if that's what's happening, this is amazing. Because like it sent the wrestling world into it. Because here was my thing. When they announced it during the middle of the show, I'm like, either MJF's coming back,
Right.
or John Moxley is about to squash CM Punk.
Because here's the deal. Like Jim breaks down your quarterly hour situation, where they had the match, if MJF comes back, then all of a sudden the tweets go out, the texts go out, the Facebook messages go out. So then people tune back in. So at 9 o'clock, your number pops.
Right.
That's how you do TV.
Tony almost had massive
But here's the
balls.
deal. He would have had to know what the hell he was doing for that to have been a thing.
Wow, that's
but
true.
go ahead, Jesse.
Yeah.
And then after the match was even more beautiful because
Did John know what was going on?
I think he did.
Because John looked a little confused for a second, or maybe that was just him.
My initial thoughts after, because I watched it again.
Yeah.
The first time I'm like, I don't know if this wasn't a shoot or not. Like I don't know if he saw him get hurt and went, fuck it, I'm just gonna kill this guy real quick and be done with this.
Yeah.
Because the ref was trying to keep John away, and it was almost like Mox was like, fuck him, I'm done with this.
Yeah.
I'm done with this story. I'm done with this bullshit.
Yeah.
I'm ending this. I'll take my fine when I get to the back. I'm done with this.
Yeah, exactly.
Because he's dealt with suspensions in WWE before. He don't care.
Yeah.
So, and then I watched it again, and I'm like, okay, no, this was clearly story. Because then I can tell when he did the look back at the crowd, it's probably going to be a video thing to set up a heel turn for him. But this was beautiful. One, because CM Punk got fucking embarrassed in Cleveland again. For those who don't know,
he walked out of WWE.
in
He's not
Cleveland,
had a very good luck
He
in Cleveland.
lost in, Stephanie McMahon said it specifically, it was like 2 minutes, 17 seconds.
2 minutes, 16
MMA.
seconds, and 48 seconds.
Yep.
Or 48 milliseconds.
Yep.
in his MMA
In
debut.
his MMA debut, got his ass whooped.
Yep.
Now, to be fair, Dana White called out the fighter who beat him because he decided to mock him, and he was like, dude, we don't do that here. Like, you beat him, attaboy, move on. But since you want to mock him, go take your ass back to the Bush Leagues. So he actually almost fired that kid.
Yeah. I will say this, though. Looking back, thank you, Mickey Golf. But, you know.
Right.
Never be seen again because Dana runs in a different business.
Well, because Dana's just like, we don't do that here.
Right.
Like, this,
But,
don't do that shit.
But,
That's good.
But
That's
to be
good.
fair, I think Dana, being the personality he is, he might have to admit, yeah, if I was in Mickey's shoes and this guy comes in, hype, talking all this shit, talking like that, maybe I would have done something.
Well, the only thing that really got under Mickey's skin that Punk actually ended up saying, because at first he was very humble about his debut.
Yeah.
He was like, hey, listen, man, this kid's been doing this for about 2 or 3 years. I'm just getting into this. Like, I'm hoping to go out there, put on a good performance.
I was with him during that interview.
Right, because during those first few interviews, he's like, I'm hoping, I've seen the matches. If I can kind of get him, because he moves his legs a little too much. If I get his legs, I got a shot at winning. And I'm like, you know what? Philip is actually diagnosing this and taking this very seriously as an MMA fighter. But then, like 2 weeks before the fight, he started talking shit about the kid. And so when he got his ass whooped, I'm like, oh, this is what you deserve.
which by the way, what Mickey did is not as bad as what the light heavyweights used to do to each other back during the golden age of UFC. Because those guys talked a lot of shit before and after.
Shit.
I'll give Conor McGregor credit. Conor was very respectful when he knocked Jose Aldo out.
Well, yeah.
Conor, but but Connor's respectable once the fight's over. He knows you were in a fight. Like, I mean, Connor.
Well, because his whole thing, his shit talk is to build the fight.
Exactly.
Oh yeah.
Punk got cocky before the fight.
Yeah.
So
And Mickey Gall knocked his
and
ass
Mickey
out.
Gold whooped his ass quickly. So I just thought Cleveland might be the most beautiful wrestling city of all time.
Cleveland rocks. Cleveland rocks. Just start playing the Drew Carey theme song. I'm fine.
Right.
Yeah.
So listen, big ups to them. This took courage.
This took a lot.
This took courage. Big ups. Now, this is if you do this rematch as rumored,
Add all out.
man, the story has to be good. Because right now, Mox looks almost unbeatable after what just happened.
Yeah.
Like, Mox now can't have a championship rematch with someone that you don't rebuild.
Yeah.
Because it won't be believable that they fought Mox and they were able to stand up to Mox.
So yeah, like having a championship match at
Right.
their pay-per-view for him probably not going to happen.
Well, I don't know. They're still talking about it.
There's still rumors about it. The smart thing to do, if
Yeah.
anything, is
Yeah.
just name a random opponent this
Yeah.
Wednesday.
Yeah.
Let Mox beat
You
up.
want it? No. If Tony's smart, he names Hangman.
Right.
He names Hangman.
And Hangman takes close to the same ass whooping.
Hangman takes the ass whooping.
Because right now you've made Jon Moxley look like an unstoppable killer,
Yeah.
which you can go with because you can sell that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now we're going to move to the rest of the show because, oddly enough, Jesse and I liked this show.
I thought it was a really good
Overall.
Dynamite.
And I will use allelitewrestling.com.
Yeah. And
Um,
I've heard good things about the show.
It was a
this
really
week.
good show.
You know what's weird? This Jericho Daniel Garcia thing went a lot better than I thought it was going to.
Yeah.
I was impressed by this. And then you add the American Dragon.
This was probably the better promo that Daniel Garcia has ever cut.
This is the kind of promo where you're like, okay, so there is something in Daniel
Right.
where we still don't know about Jack Perry.
Right.
But I liked this. It sets up what I think will be a good match because first of all, Brian can work with anybody.
Well, and these two have worked together before. In
Well,
WWE.
that's my other thing. He can work with anybody.
Right.
It's a guy he's already worked with.
Right.
Daniel knows what he can and can't do.
Right.
Garcia is torn. Like, you're actually building Daniel Garcia well.
Right.
And that's because Tony's not booking this Brian Danielson. By the way, did you notice that he almost said Daniel Bryan, the American Dragon?
Yeah.
He stuttered through that, and but like you said, he had that name for like 17 years.
Well, but he was in WWE a long time, so that's what we all know him as.
Yeah,
now.
exactly. Because he said, you're going to be facing Daniel Bryan Danielson, the American Dragon. And I was like, okay, I'm not mad about it. I get it. It was what it was. He also hasn't been given a lot of mic time since he's been there to like cut a real promo.
Right.
So I get it.
Right.
But look, Chris, if he's not trying to pull some bullshit,
Right.
can still pull the good shit from when he was in the championship matches.
Right. And just like I said, though, I'm so over him. But this should be a great match.
Oh yeah. And then came, look, I said the best main event all week was the main event on this show, but this match, bro, Dax Harwood and Jay Lethal tore it down. I love this style match. This was phenomenal.
I mean, people always ask me who's the best tag team in wrestling. I'm like, listen, if you argue the Usos, I can't argue against you.
No.
If you argue Dangerous Trekkers, who are not together now, but when they were together,
Yeah.
I got
Out
nothing.
of
That's New Japan. That's Zack and Taichi from New Japan.
right. Yeah.
Zack Sabre Jr.
Well, anything. Well, if Zack Saber's involved, arguably he might be the best in the world.
If you tell me FTR, I got nothing to argue, because now I've seen these guys in singles matches do just incredible things.
Dax could have a singles run.
So could Cash. It's like these guys are impressive.
Which reminds me, next paycheck, I am officially getting that Fight Like an 8-Year-Old Girl shirt. I'm getting that shirt next paycheck.
I respect them for that.
This match was great.
Also,
I
this match was nice. One, because it got Jay Lethal away from Wardlow, which was nice.
Yeah.
Because I haven't actually enjoyed that.
And
story
by
at
the
all.
way, Lethal won like a heel.
Right.
A great match ends with the heel being a heel.
Right.
Holy crap.
Right.
And then this is a nice way to introduce the Motor City Machine Guns.
Yes.
I believe they were still busy with some Impact tapings, so they couldn't be
so
at
they couldn't
the
be
show.
at the show, yeah.
But let me tell you something. It's a nice way to introduce them.
Right.
They're at least big enough to where people know them in that audience.
Well, yeah.
So it made sense.
Yeah.
Excalibur didn't try to oversell them.
Right.
He just sold them.
Right.
Which was fine.
Right.
Tony Schiavone in a pre-tape was backstage because we know you ain't making that far back. This was the Thunder Rosa thing.
Yes.
We've already established that. We're not talking about that anymore.
Right.
It is what it is. We do hope she will be back. We do.
Like I said,
100%
I
want her
actually do hope she gets healthy because I never wish injury or pain like that on anyone.
And now for the match that I don't know why it was happening so early. It was really odd. I mean, this is Vince booking at its worst. Was what this match was.
Yeah.
Billy Gunn with the Acclaimed versus Colton Gunn with Austin Gunn.
The problem wasn't the story they wanted to tell in the match. It was the execution.
Yes.
Because the story they were trying to tell in this match was that Billy did not want to whoop his son's ass.
Right. But the execution came off very poorly.
Right. It was.
And by the way, not to interrupt, underrated.
Yeah.
I think Austin could have done a much better job outside the ring.
I thought Colton. Well, yeah, and Colton did all right in the ring.
Colton was wrestling. This stuff happens.
Right.
But Austin. Okay, because I have an opinion one way or the other. Your opinion. Did Austin overdo it or did he underdo it? It's really hard to tell, but it's just it didn't feel good from Austin.
But
and I love the Guns, by the way.
And I mean, really, the best emotional sell was Billy after he started whooping Colton's ass, and then he kind of stopped when he was kind of being over aggressive. The one time I give Aubrey credit for the way she was refereeing, because for a moment it was almost like
Aubrey or
that was Aubrey in this
no,
refereeing
Aubrey
this match.
or Mr. Stevens.
Mr. Stevens.
You know, her Twitter handle from...
Oh, yeah.
Sorry, Aubrey, we ain't letting that one go.
I almost forgot about that.
That we can't.
You did watch the gym video. that I sent you,
But yeah, so, because I'm watching that, and I thought her way of her part in that story of you're being really aggressive on your son, and then his whole facial beat of, what am I doing? Why am I kicking the shit out of my own son? But it cost him the match in the end. That was the only point where it actually worked.
Yeah.
But otherwise, this match didn't feel like it worked most of the time.
a lot of times...
The afterbirth is fine, but
it was fine.
The question about the afterbirth to me is, this is another faction. What are you going to do with it?
Yeah.
Because the faction now has the Ass Boys, it has Ethan Page, and Lee Moriarty.
Yep.
Not including the women from the baddies on the other side. So, what with Stokely? So, how are we going to play this out?
Yeah, it's the sad part about it is you've done so much with Stokely, you have to almost make him the almighty encompassing.
He could be the Black Paul Heyman if you do it right.
Well, and that's fine,
Yeah.
but it's like you literally need to make him the all overseer of AEW almost because he owns so much talent now.
He does have a lot of talent on that.
But anyway, no.
How many does he have?
He's got the baddies, so that's 3. He's got the Guns, so that's 5. He's got Moriarty, 6.
God damn. Getting up to the 10 mark. Yeah,
he's
that
offered
definitely
7 more cards to people on Dark.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not even joking.
Yeah, no.
He's offered 7 more cards on Dark.
He's
but
trying
anyway,
to have his own family.
But anyway,
maybe.
But anyway, no. And by the way, like you said, having the tag champs come out, I'm gonna look forward to that match with the Acclaimed. I liked it. It was good.
Yeah.
Also, nothing against the Guns. I like them. The Acclaim kind of need a Billy right now. By the way, Billy said 2 words to the AEW locker room that might not have gone over well. Slow down.
I did see that.
It's almost like Jericho said that to the Lucha Brothers a while back, but the Lucha Brothers are professional enough to listen.
Right.
Because they're having great tag matches.
Yeah,
right now.
his statement to everybody
do we want to get to what William Regal
was really
recently
good.
said? Jesse, do you still have that quote up?
So, let me go grab it.
That was it. But what did he do? When I read what Billy Gunn said,
Yeah.
that is,
It also wasn't bad advice.
it was great. Well, it's great advice because his age and he can still go. that's saying everybody. It's like
If I look half as good as Billy Gunn does when I'm twice his age, I'll be a happy person.
yeah, it's like
because
especially
Billy
you know,
Gunn is a fucking freak.
sending words to Darby. I'm like, yeah, Darby. This is how you can long your career longer, even though he doesn't want to. But
No. Like I
it's
said,
like-
we can't bring Jesse to Nerd and Out Con because he's gonna tell Darby why the fuck you want to die.
7 minutes in the ring, and they do everything possible
Here we
and
go.
flips and
All
whatever.
right, so
but
now the quote from Mr. William Regal,
Yes.
Sir William.
Breaking news.
good quote.
Not really. We're just a little behind, but breaking news.
We had to save it for a certain part of the show.
So a report says William Regal says AEW and Tony Khan can fire him if they want to for sticking. Yeah, this is kind of worded badly. If they want to for sticking up for WWE because he has no plans to stop. What he said was, if I get fired from the company I'm working for now for sticking up for WWE, then so be it. NXT UK was a passion project of mine to give a decent place for British and European talent to get a pipeline so they could go to WWE and have the charmed life that I've had. If they don't like that, then they can get stuffed.
Tony Khan, we know that you don't have a set of balls, but if you let that man's contract run out and you let Triple H have him back quickly, NXT Europe will be the biggest thing, arguably, in the world.
So
Because you know he'll send them over. He'll send them back over.
here's something I want to say to Tony Khan.
Yeah, go ahead.
Because remember, Vince was always the bad guy for releasing people. Mm-hmm. At some point, as we once talked about, there's a show out there called Bar Rescue.
Yep.
And John Taffer, I know some people think he's an asshole, but I tell people, unlike the way I used to felt about Simon Cowell, and that's just one because I'm a metalhead, so I really never respect anyone in the pop industry back then. I do now, but back then you're young and you just like to fuck them all.
You
They
and
don't
I
know
are in the
music.
same boat. I mean, gatekeeping, elitism, a lot of times gets thrown out of you. It just does.
Right. So, at some point, you have to have a landmark firing. It's a firing that says we're taking shit seriously here, and if you don't, if we can't run to a certain standard, you just won't be here.
This might do it.
At some point, Tony, you got to fire somebody.
Well, Jesse, maybe you'll put him in your top 5 later in the show. But back to the show that we actually liked, which, by the way, did get over 1 million.
Also,
not by much.
William Regal's contract isn't that long there.
No, it's not. By the way,
They just got over 1 million.
1,049,000.
Well, I'm happy for
We're
them.
good for them.
So basically, if they had had one more women's segment, it would have dipped below a million.
Oh,
You know it loses 50,000. You know it does minimum.
unfortunately,
I'm not. No comment. Direct all your hate mail towards Zach.
Says the guy who literally has been saying that they don't care about the women's division
I mean,
for the last 6 months.
well, everyone knows they
That's
don't
fair.
give a shit about their women's division.
Speaking of the women's division, the very next
Yes.
match, you had Dr. DMD, Miss Britt Baker, with Jamie Hayter and Rebel. Why is Rebel still there? Jamie Hayter, I get at this point, they're pushing her. Rebel's done nothing in 4 years.
They've barely let her wrestle in
Exactly.
4 years.
Versus Kylan King.
Kylan King, who, by the way, will be at Women in Nations.
Yeah.
I think. We'll have to double check that.
By the way, Baker, remember how I said she got herself over? She grabbed the microphone, and she was a heel. She was brilliant. It's a shame about Thunder Rosa, but let me remind you, when I was champion, I wrestled with a broken wrist. Because that's what a champion does. Tony, lucky for you, you're finally be on a pay-per-view where somebody gives a damn. Because you'll be in the ring with me.
It would have also been very hard for her to try to be a face in Cleveland.
Oh, very hard. She's a big Pittsburgh fan.
Because she's a big Steeler fan.
I'm surprised she didn't come out with the Steelers
Right.
gear,
Like you were getting booed, sweetie.
I hope
in Cleveland.
I hope they don't run any shows in Baltimore.
Plus, I also forgot that Kylan is from Ohio. So the match was actually decent.
The match wasn't bad.
Kylan's got a lot better in the ring.
Yep.
I feel bad for Kylan. I'll say this. Unfortunately, she's been working in great indie promotions and learning kind of how to try to do this thing properly.
Yeah.
In a way that even works on TV.
Yeah.
But because she's used to working a slower pace, what happens is the normal AEW people, like a Britt Baker, fuck up.
Yeah.
So there was like 2 or 3 times in this match where I think Kylan was expecting her to do something that she didn't.
Yeah.
And so she was trying to like shout it to Britt what what the next spot was
If
supposed
there's
to
one
be.
thing Jesse hates in wrestling, it's calling the match.
Because I don't want to hear it.
Yeah.
Like, I just want to be able to watch and enjoy your performance. When I can start hearing it, like I said, I was happy Becky went and had a baby during the pandemic era, because I would have been pissed every Monday night knowing her match.
You would have. Every Monday or every Sunday we would have come out here and been like, Jesse's like, we're opening the show with this because I can't wait on this.
It would have been a whole damn segment every week.
Yes.
But yeah, Kylan, I think, has the potential. You know what? Fuck it. I'll say it. If there's ever a reason to get into legal trouble, Triple H, go get Kylan King out of there. Go get that girl the fuck out of there. I know I sent you Sierra stuff. And Sierra, I don't know if you know, I trust me, if you're uncomfortable, let me know and I'll stop.
Yeah.
But I'm just trying to get good talent down to Shawn and Triple H because they deserve to have those eyeballs on them.
Did you send them a Joey clip yet?
Not yet.
Okay. All right. After that, we had Tony Schiavone backstage. Once again, this was pre-taped, even though something happened live on the show. Leroy, this is where it got a little weird. This was the entire interview.
That's what happens sometimes.
Hold on. This was the entire interview. Keith Lee, we think you'll be worthy challengers for our belts at All Out. Bowens, All Out, we're taking those championships home with us because everyone loves the Acclaim. That was the end of the segment. AEW.
Well, also, like Max Caster said, we didn't need your help out there, which I'm like, actually, you did.
Actually,
you're getting your ass whooped.
Yeah, no, you're getting your ass kicked. Okay, interim world title match. We know. Christian Cage is backstage with Tony Schiavone, pre-tape. I hope they're paying Tony well for all this work he's doing.
Actually, Tony is actually it's live backstage, so this was actually live.
Okay.
During the second hour, because he's actually not out there during the second hour.
Oh, that's why I can actually hear the commentary.
Right. Christian's probably going to win this match.
Oh yeah. After this?
And here's the thing. I'm not sure if that's the wrong choice. It might be the right choice.
That was already announced, yeah.
I didn't see that.
Story beat wise, that actually might be the right choice. The story with him and Lucha, Saurus, and Jungle Boy has been told so ass backwards.
Yeah.
That I don't even know anymore. By the way, I think this is Christian's first time wrestling. Actually, no, never mind. 3 weeks ago, he did wrestle Matt Hardy. I apologize.
Are you sure that wasn't just the Unforgiven video game being replayed on national television?
Besides that, yes. By the way,
There's a possibility.
Also, it probably was that game, and I think you're thinking No Mercy. Because, of course, it would be hard for a 64 to work on your HDTV. It would run kind of slower without the converter. So, maybe.
Ricky Starks came out, and all I can say about this
Brilliant
is how
promo.
the hell did you not let this kid talk for over a year?
Brilliant promo, man.
Leroy, would you like to hear what I thought was an amazing babyface promo? Would you like
Sure.
to hear this?
Yes.
Starks, let's get down to business, huh? I haven't been in the best of moods because, quite frankly, I'm hurt and pissed off. From dealing with Team Taz being over, from losing the FTW Championship, not a recognized title, from dealing with the Factory, and now Powerhouse Hobbs. I thought I had a friend in Hobbs. Don't forget Hobbs. Calvin and Hobbs. You were you were playing background.
I love that cartoon.
Until you met me in Jacksonville.
That comic.
I should have known when you turn your back on a nightmare. You would have done the same to me. Wow. You hit me in the neck, which was a very underrated line.
Yeah,
to yell
because
out
I think
there
a lot of people didn't realize that he almost lost his career.
Yeah. I called you a friend, but now I call you a low-down snake where I'm from. We cut the heads off snakes. You bring your $5 ass to Chicago and fight me at All Out. This was great. And Ricky's got such a delivery.
If they build him properly in the next couple of months, don't even worry about the TNT title. Let him take that title off of Moxley. It'll be believable.
Ricky Starks is great.
Ricky should have been. Like I said, it's the one failure of Billy Corgan. I got to apologize to everyone for the Corbin references. I mean, Darren Corbin's all around me. Happy Corbin's getting his ass whooped by Ricochet, which makes me happy. It's a weird time to be a Corbin. But Corgan. Also, Darren Corbin thought it was a good idea to try to beat someone up in a bathroom stall at the fair, and it didn't work out. Now, I may take a nut shot for saying this, but if you're redheaded, why would you want to go anywhere hot? That's fair. I'm confused. No, but Billy Corgan should have made him in a WA World Champion. But at the time, he didn't think he was ready. And maybe he was ready. I don't know.
Yeah, we'll never know. But anyway,
Ricky Starks is phenomenal.
I actually watched this promo 3 times because I felt it all 3 times. I mean, this was so well done.
And by the way, by the end of that promo, everyone was so behind him. Because at first they were all seemingly half and half. And then, by the end of that thing, everyone's chanting Ricky. I cannot wait to see his meteoric rise, man. He's deserving.
Next up was, and I don't know why this even need to happen, we had to not really interview, we had to let the ramblings of the new AEW Unified Undisputed Champion, John Moxley, decided to act like he was John Cena because literally he just says, my time is right now and right this minute, 2022. My time is now, and I thought I was going to hear John's music for a second.
And then after Rampage, you also take a shot at WWE.
Yeah, it's...
You know, dude,
John...
Let me say this to John Moxley real quick, man.
Yeah, go ahead.
Take all the shots you want. Without them, you're not the star you are.
No.
So continue to take the shots.
Yeah.
They're going to land less and less. Now, if Roman or even your buddy Seth decide to respond, then people are going to flip because it's going to seem like a cool moment that they're now talking back and forth between a WWE and AEW wrestler.
Yeah.
I get that's how it'll react, and it'll be kind of a cool moment.
Yep.
But otherwise, right now, anytime you guys talk about WWE, no one cares because it's been better the last month.
And now... I said it multiple times. It is time for me to make my point clear.
Go for it.
The best main event in all of professional wrestling this past week is coming up right here, right now. The semifinals for the AEW Trios Tag Team Title. I hate this. Trios Title Tournament Dynamite Bracket.
That's a mouthful.
That's what it says in fucking bold print.
And that's what she said, too.
Ladies and gentlemen. Death Triangle versus United Empire. Take my money all day. I got this for free, and Tony, you're a moron for not making me pay for it because, Jesse, arguably the 2 best in the world were in the ring at the same time.
Let's be clear, man. When it started, and it started with Will Ospreay
versus
Phoenix.
And Phoenix, yeah.
Guys, this is luchador wrestling on a scale you will never, ever see.
No.
It's the one thing AEW right now can do over WWE is this kind of match.
Well, that's because A, Ray is older, and B, Vince cut all the other good luchadors.
I was about to say Vince cut all the other fucking luchadors, so Triple H might have to try to go get him back.
Isn't Lindsay in, MLW right now?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
My God.
The only negative about
the
this...
pay...
The only negative was Don Callis, and even Jim Cornette was like, even Jim Ross was like, why are you here?
Yeah, every week he shows up to chat. I'm like, why the fuck is he here? But yeah,
it's the best commentary Jim's done in 4 years.
Because he could kind of do a character thing with him.
Yeah.
But, why? No one wants you here. Why are you here?
Oh God, this match.
You almost forget. I was so happy to see Will Ospreay on the show and start this match with Ray Phoenix because you were almost like, oh, yeah, that's right. This is how Will became a megastar over on the other side of the world.
With Ricochet.
I got to tell people, I don't need fast paces to enjoy a wrestling match. I don't.
Yeah.
Like I tell people, the reason there are hardcore stands of New Japan like myself And I always tell the other stants who try to get like celebrities in Japan, like, listen, it's a different world, baby. It's because most of the time those matches are plotting and they're hard hitting as fuck.
Yeah.
But they are slow. And then you watch something like this and you're like, oh yeah, I forgot I actually love lucha wrestling too. These guys move at such a clip. It's fucking ridiculous.
If you blink, you miss half their match.
Oh yeah.
And they don't miss a beat running on the ropes, countering each other's moves. It's stupid.
And it's really interesting when you watch closely. I know Jim will hate it, but when you put both arms down and you counter, it's a believable counter.
Yeah.
When they countered, it wasn't. See,
So he countered a cutter by
Yeah.
just stopping it with his hands.
he countered a yeah, basically. But it's just maybe Ricochet and Will were a little too scripted in that thing that got them all that hype. Maybe they were.
By the
at
way,
that
that's a
point.
match you guys can find on YouTube. It's I think a WXPW match. Yeah.
No. The one in New Japan that was in the
Oh yeah. The
something hall.
Korakuen Hall. I believe it was 2014. Just find it. Ricochet versus Will Ospreay.
New Japan.
New Japan. Yeah.
But anyway, no. Maybe that was a little too choreographed. But
that was really good. Though.
no. It was phenomenal. But maybe that was a little too choreographed.
Yeah.
Whereas this, if you watched it closely, you were like, oh, this looks like a guy who knows what's coming
Right.
because he's good at it, as
Right.
opposed to it's been scripted.
Right.
But
right.
like,
right.
and then
Sure.
look, this is El Steen.
Okay.
And
yes.
I can't believe I'm saying that about AEW, but it's El Steen because they had everything in this match. And I said this to Jesse as soon as he picked me up. Sometimes you forget the best wrestler in the world might be the bastard. It might be Pac.
It might be Pac. It
Yeah.
really might
This
be.
He is
motherfucker.
good. He is good.
Jesse, he's fucking flawless in whatever he does.
There is not one thing he cannot do.
No,
Yeah.
there isn't. He just...
So he is.
Jim only wants to change his finisher because he takes too long to set it up, but we know why he's setting it up because it is a
Sure.
crazy fucking
Sure.
thing. But like, folks, even Jim has very little bad to say about Pac.
Well, and then even Triple H made sure that Ricochet, like, hey, just let's do the shooting star press. No one else is doing it right
Which
now.
is also Triple H is a fan of ending matches
Right.
in different ways
Right,
a lot of the
right,
time to
right.
kind of make the finisher.
Because he has the recoil, but now
Yeah.
he also has the shooting star press network. Because usually Ricochet hops up on the rope too. So
Yeah.
By the way, that was the big thing that made Rob Van Dam a star. Is he would jump up before the 5-star frog splash.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then give Aussie Open their flowers here today.
Oh God, these two kids.
They held up. They held.
Now,
It's
now,
hard to hold up with
now,
Penta.
Now, you and I agree a little bit with they looked lethargic, but compared to the rest of the people in the match, it's not hard. to
because
see
the
why.
other 4 guys can move at a clip,
Just
Oh, yeah.
which is fucking ridiculous.
What this match? I fucking loved it.
That's
Yeah.
awesome. I'm
Hats off
so
to
happy.
the fact that Tony Khan wasn't involved in this at all because it would have sucked if he'd done it. Because this match was them and it was nobody else. You forget, because he's defending that championship around the world, soon to be in AEW. We'll talk about that in a second.
Right.
You forget how good Pac actually is because he doesn't wrestle enough.
Also, their timing on their outside spots. So the first time Pac was getting ready to hit that arrow splash thing, Will Ospreay's partner pulls him out the ring
Yep.
to get him, and he goes behind thinking, well, Pac would have to get down now to come after us.
Nah, Pac's like, fuck that.
Pac literally balanced himself to get on the post and moonsault and hit it perfectly. And I was like, that's right, Pac is fucking amazing. Why did I think he was going to miss this? The crowd lost it too because they were like, no fucking way did he hit that perfectly.
People also
There's
have
no
to,
way.
People also have to remember, Aussie Open, these two guys, as good as they are, they were kind of thrown into this Empire thing a little early.
New Japan did throw them in too early.
Yes.
Yes.
But they've held their own.
Yes, they have.
Overall, they're snarky British assholes.
From Australia.
But
right.
folks, folks, they owned Australia for the longest time. It was literally where they sent the prisoners.
Right,
okay,
right.
like their
Yeah,
flag
that's
is
true.
literally the British flag.
Right,
in the
right,
corner
right,
with a bunch of
right,
other
right,
blue.
right.
But like the United Empire, you sat there and you were like, if you didn't go look up 30 other things that this team had been doing, then you're not a fan of pro wrestling because they were great. And then Jesse was actually happy to see Kip Sabian. Go ahead, Jesse.
So Kip Sabian, because technically, by the way, United Empire are heels. You forget that when you're enjoying a great match like this, because you start rooting for everyone involved.
Also,
you're like, wait a minute, three of these guys are heels.
Also, you forget about Pac, but then you sit there and realize, yeah, that
it's really a curse for him.
Ospreay kid's kind of good.
Like Pac, unless he's in Dragon Gate, you forget Pac should probably be a main event guy.
Yeah, if there's ever a guy that Triple H might want back, it's that
Pac.
guy. And you know what? We'll bring you back as Pac. We'll pay Dragon Gate for the name.
We'll pay Dragon Gate and Tony. Here, you're Pac now. That's who you are.
You are the bastard.
You are the bastard.
People forget that the King gimmick was like the best thing going in WWE for about 3 months.
Right.
That was awesome. I
So he does the moonsault. He gets ready to put Will back in. And then first, so for those who don't know, Kip Sabian has been kind of doing a character where he's underappreciated and undervalued.
He's also undersized and short as hell, but you know.
But Kip's been a good wrestler for a long time. Like he's actually committed to this gimmick. He's changed his hair.
Yeah.
When he's not at AEW shows, sometimes he's been in the wrestling, the British wrestling scene, in the gear and shit. But recently, the last month,
he certainly has carried it over.
Yeah, like he's actually given a fuck about kayfabe. And so the last month since Pac has held this title, he's been at every one of Pac's defenses, title defenses, and he's usually had the bag on his face.
Cardboard box, but yeah.
Which, yeah. And so in the crowd this time,
he's not a Lions fan.
Right. They're going to be better this year. So you get all that out now.
Fine. He's not a Saints fan.
No.
They're going to be good this year.
The Lions are not.
The Jaguars are the reach there, man. It's right there.
So
the
are the
Texans.
Jets.
I can't insult
the Bears.
I can't insult the Texans because they have a pastor running the football team. That's not a religious joke. That's the fact you have a pastor running a football team. Jacksonville is the easiest jab in all of pro sports because you hired Urban Meyer in the first place.
That's true.
And who was the third team? Oh, yeah, the Bears. Bro, people are freaking out the fact that Justin Fields went 14 of 16 in the third preseason game.
Well, Justin Fields actually looks like he took the mega step, but the team might not be good enough to help him.
He's going to die.
He's going to die.
So the beating that Sami Zayn will eventually get will look nothing like the 17 weeks.
No, I got to be honest. Sammy will want to be Justin Fields for 17 weeks after what's going to happen to him.
All right, that's fair.
Yeah.
But, yeah, so apparently he kidnaps the guy, beats him up, and makes him wear his shit. And then Kip Sabian comes out of nowhere to attack. Here was the problem. This was the only problem I actually had with this moment. Yeah. The ref took way too long checking on Will Ospreay.
Well, this was the
Sometimes it's the one time in wrestling where I'm like,
this was
that long?
This was the only moment where I said to myself, okay, you had me, and now we're back to AEW.
It's just,
didn't knock out the ref,
right?
You didn't have someone run down for
someone just distract the ref.
You literally just had the camera away from the ref, and the ref was supposed to ignore the fact that Pac just got his ass
right
by a guy who wasn't legally in the match.
So,
but other than that,
and then he throws him back in. They hit a triple assisted Os cutter, and they get the win.
Yeah.
So besides that moment,
yeah.
I agree with Dave. This was a 5 out of 5. I'm like, this might have been the best main event I've seen in a while.
What, folks? Like we said, Kenny and the Bucks versus whoever they faced again. I forgot in their quarterfinal match. That was classic AAA. Oh, sorry, it was Los Ingobernables.
Yes.
Le Rouge.
Yeah.
El Idolo and Dragon Lee.
Yeah.
Who, by the way, I'm pretty sure Dragon Lee and Le Rouge are about to tag in a AAA match coming up here some reason.
Even though he just beat his brother's ass.
Yeah. So anyway, No, this is a match, in my opinion, because of Aussie Open and Pac. No offense to Will and the Lucha Brothers, but they are the classic high flyers.
Sure.
This is a match where anyone could get into it and love it. And like Jesse said, for those of you that said Aussie Open looked bad, what are those two kids supposed to do when you got four of the best in the world?
I don't think they look bad. It's just they looked a little slower compared to the other four fucking guys in the ring.
You had the best on the ropes guy, arguably ever in Phoenix. You had Will Ospreay, end of conversation. You had Pac, who every time you see him, you're like, oh, right, he might be the best in the world.
Because here's my
problem.
problem.
And then you had Penta, who, like Jess said,
right.
he's a more hard-hitting Mexican style,
Right.
Yeah.
but the dude's legit.
Oh, yeah.
And here's my problem with those complainers. So say if he had the great O'Khan and Jeff Cobb. That match don't move that fast.
No.
You want to know why? Because now those guys in that match, the whole storytelling is, well, the speed doesn't match the fucking power of the great O'Khan and Jeff Cobb, who are just suplexing the shit out these dudes.
And by the way, y'all remember who Jeff Cobb was introduced to the wrestling world as? The dude that was suplexing the fuck out of everybody in Lucha Underground.
Yes.
The man has power that is unreal.
And by the way, he's actually very quick as far as moving his hips.
Yeah, it's scary.
It wouldn't have mattered what flips were done against him. It wouldn't have worked.
No.
So yeah, this
Now,
was phenomenal.
AEW.com doesn't have it, but Jesse saw it. The Ramblings of Kenny Omega Saga Part 2. Jesse, Kenny feels as though he needs to be the Okada of AEW, and he needs to send the people home happy.
Will
No,
Ospreay clearly got under his skin.
Oh, yeah.
So apparently, really the whole thing was supposed to be like, you guys did a good job. Welcome to the big leagues. By the way, now you're throwing jabs at New Japan. Funny. That I'm just saying, funny.
The Yakuza works in Canada too, Tyson.
Well, all I'm saying to Kenny, funny where you get your money. That's an old New York saying.
There you go.
Funny where you get your money. Anyway, and kind of insulting Will Ospreay about how, you might have done it at a lot of things I've done at a younger age, but I did it in front of a sold-out Tokyo
and by the way,
Dome.
if people are wondering where Will... First of all, Will has a very street UK accent. It's not a very polished UK accent.
Oh, he's what do they call it? A brony? What is
a
it?
Geordie.
Some shit like
It's
that.
a Geordie, yeah.
Yeah.
But also, he just finished a match where that he fucking killed. So
Right.
He's a little out of breath.
But I do love the bruv. Like, that's when you know you're in the hood part of the UK when you hear bruv.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Instead of bruh, it's bruv.
Yeah.
And then, Will Ospreay was just like, listen, you did it sold out, but I did it quicker. I've done it better. And
Also,
by the way, no one misses you there.
and you also could tell that that he struck a nerve because he was standing up doing this thing with Kenny, but as soon as he found out he got under Kenny's skin, he sat his ass down right on
Yeah.
the ropes and said, "Come here, there, chicken shit boy. Come here, here,
Right.
brav."
Right.
And the more Kenny spoke, the more he had to get on the side of the ropes. And Aussie Open were like, "Oh, this shit's about to actually go down.
Right.
We might want to stop Will."
Right. Go watch the promo. It is on AEW's YouTube.
Yeah.
Yeah, Will Ospreay got under his skin. He clearly pissed Kenny off.
Yeah.
Now the rumor is some people are saying it's a shoot, or work. Some think it's a shoot. I'm like, that's clearly a shoot. Will got under his skin.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
In a big way.
Because folks, if there's one thing we've learned, Kenny is a little bit okay. That's a lie. I'm gonna pull a CM Punk. He's a little bit. No, he's 100% pissed off that New Japan basically burned him on the way out.
Absolutely.
He's not. New Japan tried to stop him from being able to live in a country that he's a citizen of.
Right.
Yep.
Like, people, he's clearly still pissed off about this.
Yeah.
He's got an issue with this, and part of the reason why Forbidden Door went off as well as it did is because Kenny was not involved.
Right.
Yeah.
But
well, hey,
yeah, Kenny was.
I did look up right now, and I didn't find anybody else, but Nyla Rose and Julia Hart are at Women's Nation.
Well, they've already been confirmed. Yeah.
Them are the two. I did not find any other
Okay.
There's a
AEW
few other people
yet.
confirmed. You have to go to the MAW Facebook. They're confirmed. Honestly, you showed me Diamond Dallas. He was confirmed like 4 months ago.
Okay, yeah, I missed that one. Yeah,
Yeah.
Diamond Dallas and Demolition.
But anyway,
I mean, speaking of Diamond Dallas Page, before
DDP.
I went and got I like to call him our lead guy here. I found an old video of when Diamond Dallas Page was feuding with The Undertaker when he first showed up in WWE as the Stalker. And as I'm watching it, I realized This is actually pretty underappreciated. He actually did a really good job.
He did a great job.
Oh, yeah.
He did a really good job. So the ramblings of Kenny Part 3 will be next week because Kenny can't stop himself, and Tony clearly has no plans to stop it. But anyway, so now we get to our, because we're going to finish up with these guys. We'll just get everything out of the way here. Our top 5 people that we would landmark fire to gain control of the locker room. Jesse's already named 3. Jesse, do you have 2 more to add to your list?
I named 3?
You named 3. You had Knock It the Fuck Off.
Yeah.
You had Brandon White Meat Cutler.
Yeah.
And you had Pit Stop. You have 2 more?
I'll actually take Penelope off.
Okay. Okay.
So yeah, let's get the 2 members of the elite that should just be doing something else. Maybe selling cars at this point. Let's just get them out of here.
Hey man, the used car sales business in California is really good
Fucking
this time of year.
phenomenal
Yeah,
right
it's
now.
great.
So
Especially in Southern California.
number 3,
Yeah.
MJF.
Yeah.
Like seriously, you want to send
Well,
a
you
message?
took my number 1, so we're done there. I know I said we are gonna do this differently, but you already took my number 1.
Oh, my
so.
bad.
No, it's all good.
Because if you want to send a message about no demands, there you go. One of your AEW originals, and be like, well, if you're going to go to WWE, good luck. And then fire him. Cut his contract. And then if you really want to be a dick, go full Vince. I'll pay you for 60 days.
Yeah.
So you can't sign there for 2 months, but you're good to go. Number 2. I would, damn. They can't do it. He can't do it because he's paying him too much money, and he's the biggest draw he has in the company. So number 2 probably shouldn't count, but I will count it. It's CM Punk.
Well, you said last week that like you said, he couldn't, but you would if you were Tony Khan.
Immediately.
Yeah, heartbeat.
Or at least suspend him indefinitely.
Yeah.
Like after he would have lost the title,
I tell you when you come back.
I would have put out a statement. CM Punk has been suspended indefinitely. We wish him the best in getting healthy. And that would have been it. So if you want to do your press conference, you go, well, listen, he was suspended for what he did.
Yeah.
And he's hurt, so we're giving him time. Yeah, now, that might not go well for you in Chicago.
No.
But let's just get through all that. We'll deal with the
Just
heat.
stop
I'm
running
moving on.
Chicago.
Right.
Because, by the way, you were barely running it until Punk got there anyway.
Right.
That's actually fact.
And then number 1.
Okay.
You ready?
Oh, yeah. We are ready.
Get the Young Bucks the fuck out of there.
Okay.
Immediately.
You've changed course over the last week. I've made you think about this.
Listen, I'm actually still with them as far as
They're a draw of some kind?
They're a draw of some kind. The reason I say you let them go if you're Tony Khan, because so far their brand of doing shit, where Cody apparently masked a lot of shit, has brought you nothing but pain and controversy. Make them go to WWE when they're not EVPs. They have no power. Let's see how they do. But like, it's Triple H there now. You don't have to worry about Vince bearing you because Triple H is not going to bear you.
No.
That's not Papa H.
You're not beating the Usos night 1 for the unified tag title.
Not happening.
Hell
What?
no.
But go to WWE now. Because you said you made $1 million without WWE. Good job.
Go make $1 million
I'll
with
try
them.
to, yeah.
Go
try
make
to
$1 million with them. Help them get to 3 million viewers. You're a draw, right? You should be able to do it. I would get them the fuck out of there. Plus, that also because by the way, Triple H isn't going to make them stop being the elite. That's not who he is.
He doesn't care.
He doesn't care. You can
No.
still go do the video with
Yeah.
your friends.
He lifted the Twitch ban.
Right. He's like, good. That's
Which
free.
again-
That's free promotion for us. Why the fuck would we want you to stop?
Which again,
Well, yeah.
they keep calling it a ban. Vince had laxed on it, but it from what I read,
It was called a third party
Right.
something.
Here's the thing, though. They weren't banning third party, but Triple H has said it doesn't have to be as combined with us
Right.
as Vince wanted it. All right, Leroy, do you have a top 5? You're probably firing the whole elite right off the bat. So
Yeah, I'd get rid of them
okay,
because Elite, Kenny, yeah, he
Okay.
has to go play with
Okay.
his dick somewhere else.
mm-hmm.
And hopefully Dan Callis goes with him.
Yep.
Okay, who else would I? Punk,
Okay.
because Yeah, I'm done with it.
And like I said, the problem with Punk is you can't.
Right.
You gave like the money he's paying him and the
Yeah.
fact that he's the biggest draw. Like you gave away your leverage.
Yep. Okay, so you have 4. I'll give you one more.
Jericho.
Okay.
Ooh, ooh, that's a good name.
Okay, so here's the deal.
Yeah,
You two.
He isn't doing shit.
Yeah. Here's the deal. You two are going with big names, big stars, obvious answers. My list may surprise you.
You said landmark firings.
Okay. But here's the deal. I decided to take this from a Tony standpoint. I'm analytical.
But I
I'll
say
let you finish,
Jericho
yeah.
just because you want new stars.
Okay.
Well,
rid of him.
the reason I wouldn't think he would ever fire Jericho is because he's so experienced
Yeah.
that
You could find Jericho.
Right.
You could find a way to make Jericho work for you.
Right.
But I don't think you can fire Jericho.
right.
Now,
But
you guys.
he's doing nothing to help. He's doing to help himself, like
well,
Punk.
yeah. Well, that's
mean,
obvious to see
that's
by the
it.
ratings.
To
But
be
anyway,
honest, I
so here's
got
the
no
deal. You guys
argument
said
on that.
landmark, and I'm not denying that you have landmark. But if I'm going to look at this from an analytical standpoint, I'm
Technically, my first two weren't even landmark. It was just like you're not doing anything.
Yeah.
So why are you here?
well, but they're best friends with the guys that you eventually let go.
right.
All right, so I'm going to surprise some people with my list. Number 1 is obviously Max, but that's only because it's to, like Jesse said, it's to show no demands. Here's my list. MJF's number 1. Number 2, Wheeler Yuta. I squash him. I take the title. He's gone. Because now you've shown Bryan Danielson you're willing to mess with his group. Not that Bryan's a problem, but Bryan has to suffer for everything else. And that's where Bryan might get mad, but Bryan's got to suffer for everything else.
Or are you trying to make John suffer? Because I see no point in trying to punish Bryan Danielson.
2 birds, 1 stone. Because you messed with the BCC, who is arguably one of your top groups.
Right.
Number 3. Matthews. Buddy. Bye-bye.
Once again, it's almost like my first two. He's done nothing.
Bye-bye.
He's useless there.
You literally...
It's not even his fault.
You literally do nothing for me. You've wrestled 3 times. It means nothing. Number 4. I'm going to go over to the women's side here. I'm going to get rid of Britt Baker.
Ooh.
I'm going to get rid of Britt Baker.
She was an honorable mention for me.
Britt Baker has not done anything wrong, but Britt Baker has shown, and again, the analytics would prove this. Tony could cop out on the one thing he always talks about. She's not a needle mover. She's really not. My locker room arguably will immediately be like, oh boy. And she was a inaugural champion that really sends the ripple effect. And then number 5. Actually, before I get to number 5, because that one might be shocking, might not be. Any response to top 4?
Britt, I don't even know if that would be for me. Why she was teetering. The reason, like I said, in the names I picked out was just because they. In what ways are they actually hurting AEW and not helping AEW?
But there's 2 ways to look at a landmark.
Well, here's what I'm going to say about Britt. I'm just kind of responding.
Yeah.
With Britt, would I've suspended her for the whole sandbagging joke? Absolutely.
Yeah.
Like, you know what? I let
But
you
here's
go out.
but here's
like,
the deal, Jesse. I'm not getting rid of Britt for anything that's happened on television. I'm getting rid of Britt because analytically I can justify the firing. Number 1. And then number 2, it's an inaugural champion. It's someone that's had a lot of success, and I'm just done with it because A, it doesn't benefit.
Well,
me.
because to me, if you're firing her, you might as well let go of Adam Cole.
What's he doing
Maybe.
but getting hurt?
Well, now he's an expensive fucking liability.
But hold on, Jesse. I've already signed him for 5 years, so let's not talk about getting rid of Adam Cole. Again, I'm trying to be Tony for a second.
God, what a fucking idiotic thing to say.
Are you ready for number 5?
Go ahead.
Sorry, it's time. Cut the cord. The entire Dark Order is gone.
No problem with that
I'm
one.
done with it.
Yeah.
I have no problem with that.
They're beloved in the locker room, would scare the shit out of everybody, but they are 100% proof that they do nothing for me. By the way, Leroy, they're in the semifinals of the Trios tournament by beating the House of Black.
Yeah, I know. I saw that. It made no fucking sense.
No, it made sense based on the
Because
story.
Miro helped in the story, yeah.
But
So
the sad
the
part
story
about
wise,
it
it made
is
sense.
that this tournament that you're trying to make great matchups in, the Dark Order's not built for this tournament. I'm sorry, they're not.
No.
By the
they're
way,
not.
who was the third person in the Dark Order?
It was Silver. Was it Silver or Silver Reynolds? No, was it Uno?
Because remember, there
Probably.
was a mystery third person of the Dark Order. They had it named, and I didn't see the match.
Let me get the Rampage results.
All right, yeah.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
anyway, response to that list.
The Dark Order also was teetering, because the Dark Order.
Oh, they're a guarantee for me. It's just where I put them on my
Well,
list.
yeah.
Well, the Dark Order I would have fired 4 months ago, and it was just for them.
It was just 10.
Okay.
Because it was Alex Reynolds, John Silver, and 10.
Okay. Yeah. So
Was 10 masked?
I would think so.
Okay.
Yeah, because really the only reason you still have the
I
Dark.
was watching Dragon Ball Super, so I did not pay attention
worries.
to wrestling on Friday.
The only reason you have kept the Dark Order around really this long.
These are friends with the Bucks.
No, not even that.
Not anymore. It's not.
No, it's not even that. It's literally the Brody Lee thing
Yeah.
and his son,
Yep.
which it's starting to border on disgusting.
Yep.
So
It's pandering. That's all it is.
Yeah.
'Cause
so
every time they come out, it's a tribute to Brody Lee, who sadly did so much better work in other places.
well, I mean,
Chikara, for one.
and to
was
be
great.
fair,
Yeah.
he did so much in such a short time
Right,
there.
exactly.
So, yeah, they were teetering because my thought was, well, I fire all of them. Anna Jay's already found her place elsewhere.
Yeah.
To me, Alex and Silver work as a tag team.
Yeah.
Because as singles guys, they're probably just
Fine.
indie guys.
Fine then. I'll just fire Uno. He can go work with Stu, which he's doing anyway outside,
Right,
and they
right.
can go back to what Dark Order was before they got here.
Because those who are the actual Dark Order. Because here's the thing. For me, I don't know if I want to let go of 10. If I'm them. He's only 24.
Jesse, when I say Dark Order, I only mean the people that people associate with the Dark Order. They don't associate 10 with the Dark Order.
Well, he's their big muscle guy, though.
Well, yeah, but he's
Yeah.
never on television.
So that's why, to me, he was teetering.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, I don't fire 10. Now, would I get rid of would I fire the rest of them? Because here's the thing, my tag team division is stacked, which is a problem.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah, I would do it. One, Evil Uno deserves better. Go hook up with Stu Grayson.
Well, but you asked me for landmarks, and in my opinion, my list are a bunch of landmarks that aren't just big firings. They're landmark firings.
Like I
You're
said,
firing people that are good in the locker room.
the Britt Baker one outside of MJF probably to me should have been your number 2 because that's a huge one. Because now you fired a women's star.
Well,
the
I
other
had Max, I had Britt, I had the Dark Order.
the other one on my it's funny because you mentioned Britt Baker. The other one on my honorable mention was Thunder Rosa because. Not only stripping her of the championship, because I wouldn't even. I know this is fucked up. I wouldn't even let her compete again. To send the message after suspending Britt Baker, I would have stripped her of the championship, fired her,
Yeah.
and then did the Fatal 4-Way. And this is not a slight to Tony Storm, but I would have put it back on Sheeta
Oh, yeah.
and been like, "Do you get what gets rewarded around here?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you get what gets rewarded around here, then we're gonna be fine."
So Max, Yuta, the Dark Order, Britt, and who's my other one?
What was his other one? I've already forgotten your fifth.
Yeah. Well, we got into such a Brit conversation.
I know.
Because I think number 2 I had it. So no, number 2 I had Yuta. Yeah. Then I had the Dark Order. I had Brit. It's in the recording. I'll listen back.
So we'll
Yeah.
go back to the, but yeah. So and then I'll write mine down. Hopefully you write yours down and we'll post them. But
Yeah.
yeah. For me, Max was always going to be on my list.
Yeah.
1 for himself, and 2, if you're serious about this demands things, it's the first guy to go. If you want to send a message, it's the first guy to go. Like I said, I took Penelope off my list because I think she deserves just a chance to prove herself. That's all.
Yeah.
Pit stop needs a chance.
You guys are terrible.
Oh, yes.
And then Yeah, get the Young Bucks the fuck out of that locker room.
I'd keep them because let me tell you something. I can still make money off these guys, but I'm going to make sure that they know that I'm making money off them.
But to me, your tag division is so stacked, you don't even fucking need them.
No, it's okay. My tag division's always going to need a team that sadly these fans always believe in, but I'm just going to squash the fuck out of them all the
Because
time.
think about it.
Yeah.
Think about this. The Lucha Brothers, FTR, the Young Bucks, and Jay Briscoe and his brother are all technically in the same fucking locker room right now. And that's without the current tag team champions, the second team in the Dark Order, the now I think split up Santana and Ortiz. I mean, you're talking like
Well, Santana's Santana's not there right now.
Santana's hurt, yeah, but that's why I said semi-split up.
Yeah.
I mean, I could go on and on and on. And, like, so your tag division is incredibly stacked.
Right.
WWE would love your tag
Who
division
was
right
my
now.
fifth? My God, I can't remember who it was. Probably because it was one of those firings where it was just like, here's the deal. I'm literally dropping this person because, Buddy Matthews.
Yeah, Buddy Matthews.
Yeah, it's Buddy Matthews.
Well, but yeah, because I said Buddy Matthews to me is just that firing for even though you have your own justification, for me just sounds like the same reason. Almost to me sounds like the same reason I would get rid of Nakamura, Nakazawa, and Brandon Cutler. You're not helping them, and they're doing nothing for you.
No. See, here's the deal. This is only the people that I would fire to gain control back. I'm not saying that Cutler and Nakazawa ain't on the chopping block, but the Bucks will get real nervous once I get rid of these people.
Well, the Dark Order, not so much. What the fuck do they care?
Then, but here's the deal. The rest of the locker room, they start seeing that. All of a sudden, the Bucks don't look as powerful. My entire list is to lower what the people believe the Bucks and Kenny to be.
Sure.
And to me, that doesn't mean getting rid of his personal assistant. Yes, folks, he's legally in the country like that.
Right.
But anyway, now we're going to get on here. Leroy, you want to read us that list of how much wrestling we have to get through this week starting on Monday?
Oh, shit, what we got to get rid of? Yeah, I was on there. We got 3 hours of Raw.
Yep.
We got NXT for 2 hours.
2 hours.
We got Dynamite for
2 hours.
We got
Impact's on there, even though the list didn't include Impact.
Yeah, Impact's
which is
on
a
there.
Darn
So
shame.
we're already at 13.
Yeah.
SmackDown for a couple hours.
15.
Yeah.
We got
Saturday,
Rampage for an hour.
Hold on.
we got
Rampage for an hour. So that
16.
That boom, and then we got 3 hours for Clash of the
It's
Castle.
Triple H. He'll probably do 3.
So 19.
Mm-hmm. And then we got
Worlds
Collide. That's gonna be like 2-3 hours. And then
I'll say 3 for a top.
22.
And then to finish it off, All Out for
So 30 hours of wrestling.
some goddamn hours.
Yeah. We got a long week ahead of us.
I gave them 8 hours because it's going to take forever for that fucking pay-per-view when they add like 10 more matches. But
yeah.
They give John one match, and then it's going to take him 3 hours
Leroy,
to get another ring.
Leroy,
right.
what cards do you have in front of you currently?
I have Clash of the Castle.
Okay.
They only have 2 matches set for Worlds Collide.
There's a
and
few
then,
more, I think.
Yeah.
They're announcing them this week.
Right, yeah, right now they only have 2.
Well, the NXT model is you pretty much know what's going to happen, but the only signed match... Although, hold on, before we even get to the cards, Jesse, I tried to call you. You predicted
I do have
what
the
might
All Out
happen
one,
on
so.
this week's NXT, and Mandy Rose was in the ring, and it happened. Jesse, I give you the floor.
That was beautiful.
The grandmother that everyone thinks is just going to get hurt in this match, who's probably going to hurt a lot of people.
Mako fucking Satsumura
And you said if they were going to get her in America, holy shit.
is in America wrestling on NXT television. I am thrilled.
Gene, put it in the lounge multiple times. Mandy, just hand over the belt. This woman's going to whoop your ass.
Yeah.
Don't even show up. To be honest, I don't know why Bea Priestley / Blair Davenport's going to show up. Don't. Listen, guys like me and Gene aren't trying to be like these pro Japanese women thing. It's not about that.
Right.
When you have watched Satsumura like I have for 10 years, there's 2 things you know. Just give up. Just you know what she did that Kana-chan did not? She actually She beat my guy Minoru Suzuki twice. She beat him in the ring, and then she made him tame and put him in a relationship. All I'm saying is this woman is dangerous.
Well, they said that they were friends, but
I believe her then, because I don't want no part of them hands. All I'm saying, don't even show up. As a matter of fact, come this Sunday night, because I'll be watching that one live. I'll watch the replay of AEW the next day. I refuse to watch it live. Not because it's not going to be good, but it's going to be too damn long.
Yeah.
And I'm going to need to fast forward through some stuff.
yeah.
But
I know,
yeah,
I'll have to watch Castle on a replay.
I am telling you, if you thought what Moxley did to CM Punk was brutal, you ain't seen shit yet, ladies and gentlemen.
By the way, this week's NXT was well done. I thought, I enjoyed it a lot.
Yeah.
Jesse, you and Leroy technically were incorrect, and I have to call you guys out a little bit. Seems like all he had to do was pull up, and he got Legato all the way down to.
Yeah, I did not see that coming.
No, neither did
That
I.
wasn't the stipulation of the match. So good on Triple H and Sean for getting me. I didn't see that coming. I was just like, yeah, they're just going to be tortured in this family thing for a while. But apparently not.
All they simply had to do was get in the car.
It's like, yeah, I'm not leaving you. Boom, they got in the car.
Well, now him and Dude are just a tag team down there. I don't know how much of a Don he is, but yeah, I'm excited to see Delgado all the way up on the main roster. And apparently, it sounds like they did debut on the SmackDown taping.
On the dark.
Yeah. Well, no.
Okay, yeah.
On the actual show for next
week.
week.
Because they're taping SmackDown
Yeah.
for this week.
Right.
Because they're all going to head over to Cardiff early.
Yeah.
Because like Jesse and I discussed in the pre-show meeting, Vince always had a thing about jet lag. He doesn't like it. He wants the show to be crisp.
Right.
So they're going to go over there early, get the time difference ready.
Which is also why I keep telling people, the NXT call-ups you think are going to get called up now, if they have a match at
Worlds
Collide, they ain't going to be in Cardiff. They're just not, because that's a 12-hour, that's an 8-hour flight you would have to take back by Sunday and make it. So they won't be there.
Yeah.
Right.
But otherwise, yeah. Plus, they got to get all of them back to the States by Sunday, because then they're running Raw Monday Night Live.
Also, like Jesse said last week, you watched Gallus this past week. Them boys hit hard. Them Gallus boys.
They're thugs, is what they are.
Yes, they
Let's
are.
be clear what Gallus is.
Gallus.
They are Irish thugs who deserve to be put in an Irish prison. But yeah, they hit hard.
They go-
See, here's a
gonna
fun
whoop
part.
you.
They have the two heavyweight championships. They got the women's. They're going to have the tag team. Are they going to have the
Well, the
North
UK title's on the line because Gallus wants to be known as the final NXT UK champion. That's why the UK title's on the line.
No, Tyler Bate.
But right now, that doesn't look like a triple threat.
I'm talking about the tag team match. They're facing.
That's right. They're actually facing Brooks and Jensen
Yeah,
this
yeah,
week. That's
yeah,
right. That's
yeah,
right.
Yeah.
But I'm thinking that might be added to it. If they're going to
Yeah, I would think so, yeah.
So, I mean,
And then we'll have some probably just Worlds
is-
Collides matches.
and is there an equivalent tag title to the North American Championship in there?
No.
No.
Okay, so
They had 2 belts. That was it. But that's a very British wrestling thing. There's not a lot of mid-card.
3 belts when you count the women's, but yeah.
Yeah.
okay.
But that's
All right.
the idea behind a lot of British wrestling tropes is there's a women's division because even they know you can't do the violence thing. There's a heavyweight title because that's just change
Who
classic.
the fuck lied to you about the British and women fighting men?
I'm talking about WWE when they were over there. Even they still couldn't do it because they at least are publicly traded. That's all I'm saying.
I thought you were just talking about the culture over there.
No, God, no.
I was about to say, I have watched Bea Priestley get her ass whooped by fucking Walter before. they don't care.
To be fair, they're not allowed to have guns. What's a British cop gonna do to Walter?
Run.
Say, I'm very sorry, sir.
Pray. Hope that he doesn't just start to swing that fucking axe of a hand.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway,
So, I mean, are they going to have the North American champion? I mean,
No.
You don't think you're going to have a one-on-one?
Worlds Collide. Even when they did it, when they had the NXT UK brand as a whole, it was a one-off type deal. It's not a one-off, but Jesse knows
well,
what I'm saying.
basically what they did is they put the best against the best, and then they just tried to do a ton of dream matches because it was the one time they kind of could.
Yeah.
But on that, who would be a dream match for him? When he shoots, he scores. What do you think?
By the way, shout out to our boy Rampage,
NXT UK.
who's being followed by Carmelo Hayes.
Which is
yeah.
awesome.
Carmelo, you gonna like this boy.
Bring him in. Bring him in, Carmelo.
Who do you
Shout out to him.
Who do you think in the UK that they're still going to have would be kind of fun to go?
Hey, about to say,
If he wasn't hurt, Dragunov.
Oh, well, yes.
but that's not going to happen.
No.
Yeah.
I'm actually very worried. Not that he doesn't love Triple H and Shawn. I don't know if he wants to move over here. So we'll see when he's healthy. But because he enjoyed his time in Orlando.
Yeah.
But that's Florida.
Jesse, we talked about last week. He might stick around for when NXT Europe drops.
Right.
Because
they should have that up by spring. It sounds like.
But remember, William Regal, before he said what he said in breaking news on our show, he said that was in the works for a while.
Right.
Yeah.
That wasn't just out of the blue. BTS Sports said we're done with you. That was something they were always looking to do.
Mm-hmm.
Because like I said last week, Jesse, after 2 years, there were so many different flags of opponents. Half the roster was from the rest of Europe.
Well, and I mean, fucking Japan, Russia, they were from everywhere.
Yeah.
So why not just do the whole Europe thing and
Yeah.
And it sounds like the Europe thing will also now combine the thoughts of the South America division, India for NXT, all that.
Yeah.
We'll just bring them all to NXT Europe.
Yep.
But yeah. So I don't know the other matches that will happen.
Yeah. Right now, they just have the two.
So.
They haven't, and of course, on Tuesday they're probably going to announce more.
Yep.
So I think by the time when we're
before we
recording the show, it'll be going on.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah, towards the end.
Yeah. But before we get to what was a great Friday Night SmackDown, Jesse, my boy here, your girl got a win in ducky pajamas.
That was pretty sweet.
I'm trying to stay out of her DMs because I don't want to go to jail. But
I understand.
I love me an Asian woman. I really do. It's a thing. I don't know. It's a thing. It's a thing I have.
I understand.
But my boy got to see his girl, and she won.
I just love her.
I love that match. I really
And by
enjoyed
the way,
it too.
we're
It was a
tired
good
of
match.
tax in wrestling, but apparently not of Legos.
That was evil. That's seriously, that's worse than tax.
Yeah, because the tax bend inside you a little bit, or you can work tax. You can't really work Legos.
Oh, God.
No, if it crushes a fucking part of your bone, that's it, baby.
Yeah.
Walking on Legos really hurt.
Oh, they didn't walk on Legos. They fell on Legos.
Okay, I know. Walking on Legos really hurts. I
But
cannot imagine falling.
I will
on
also
them.
give the flower to Tiffany. Hell of a match.
It was a good match.
She's coming along very nicely. I'm still a little uncomfortable with the goddamn character. I get what it's supposed to be.
Well, to be fair, though, outside of the music, her promoing has been less and less about Daddy.
Well,
so they've kind of moved past that.
Well, it's now she's supposed to be the snobby girl, which I have no problem with.
Yeah.
But it's the way she cuts a promo that feels uncomfortable because now she's 23. To be fair, she's 23.
Yeah.
But she barely looks like she's 18. So and I watch Stardom knowing that there's 16-year-olds in these matches. So every time I see Tiffany on American television, I go, guys, can we just put tights on her to just be safe? I don't think I remember when I first saw Julia Hart in AEW, and I was I told you guys I was uncomfortable because I'm she looks 16. And in this country, that kind of shit gets you a lot of trouble.
There was also...
Yeah, remember, we saw her at a bar in downtown Minneapolis, too.
And, I mean, she'll be turning 20, I think, this year.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I just, like I said, in this country, it can feel uncomfortable.
Also, a very interesting thing happened during a seminar, we'll call it, gym class at Chase University.
So
Somebody debuted!
Charlie Dempsey, or
William Regal's son.
William Regal's
call him.
William Regal's very evil fucking son, because he's an evil son of a bitch.
He got daddy's.
Woo! He's got daddy's temper.
Yes, he does.
He was supposed to come teach a class. Instead of teaching the class, he was trying to break bones.
He was trying to whoop their ass.
Well, that's teaching a class.
That's the British version of that.
I am excited to see him integrate somehow, some way into this faction.
Well, here's the deal. I'm sure that he talked to his dad, and I'm sure that his dad looked at him and said,
work with Triple H and Sean.
"You'll be fine.
Right.
Just go down there."
Right.
And by the way, that was probably in the works before we got rid of
Right.
Vince.
Yeah.
So now Charlie getting the opportunity to really move up.
Right.
Dude, this might be the best version of William Regal because you have William Regal's son in WWE at a younger age than when William got there.
Sean and Triple H are going to take care of him. He's going to be
And the
fine.
boy learned a lot from Daddy.
Yes, he did. So, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
He's going to be fine.
I'm looking forward to Charlie Dempsey.
A great teacher. I mean, another around that.
The poor young boy, the trainee that they kind of brought in.
Yeah, no, that was kind of rough. But yeah.
It's a bad day. That's a bad day.
Let me tell you something, though. If he ends up just working with them in the faction, Jesse will love
That's what I want.
Jesse wants.
As soon as they stopped on the screen, I smiled so fucking loud because I was just like, I'm like, if they can do a story where he integrates into this faction, this is going to be a lot of fun.
Because here's the deal. Like his father, he probably has that sense of humor.
Yes.
Because, by the way, William was never mad
And
about
by the way,
being
Charlie
mad.
can still just play it straight the whole time.
He could. That'd be
Yes,
the best part.
that's true.
Right.
If Charlie just plays it straight, these kids still act like, young,
Yeah.
bright-eyed college students, and Andre's just Andre Chase. By the way, Andre Chase, the guy who actually warmed Jesse's heart.
I can't believe it won me over, but I'm so into it.
Because you hated it.
Man, I first saw him, I'm like, this is the dumbest shit. Who is this loser in these pants and this stupid-ass sweater? Look at this dumb dork. Is this NXT now? I can't watch.
And now Jesse's running around throwing up the U.
It's just like when you hear those annoying commercials and then you start singing the song. Yep.
But here's the difference.
That's what
I
it
don't
does.
hate anything about Chase U anymore.
I love
No.
Chase U.
I also love the fact that in my opinion, Chase U is the poke fun at Dynamite. In that we're gonna swear, but we're gonna bleep it out.
Yeah.
And by the way, folks, the fact that they're bleeping "holy shit" of the fans, that's not WWE's move.
That's a network move.
That's a network move.
You know what I also love, though?
What's
The
that?
fans of this show.
Oh, they're great.
And we're happy to come and do this for you guys and talk with you guys, but we also care about your mental health.
We do.
And we want to bring you our sponsor in BetterHelp because, as I always say, we are always happy to distract you from the real world and help you laugh and whatever it takes. But if you do need to talk with someone, look no further than BetterHelp.com. This podcast is sponsored by BetterHelp. Have you ever felt depressed, stressed, anxious, or overwhelmed? Well, BetterHelp is here to help you. I, in my life, guys, have dealt with mental depression and a variety of mental health issues and have had to use therapy to overcome them. Well, BetterHelp is a great program here to help you.
BetterHelp offers licensed therapists who are trained to listen and help you in a private, online environment at your convenience.
There is a broad range of expertise in BetterHelp's 20,000-plus therapist network that gives you access to the help that may not be available in your area. All you got to do is fill out a questionnaire to help assess your specific needs, and then you get a matched therapist within 48 hours.
Then you can schedule your secure video and phone sessions. Plus, you can exchange unlimited messages, and everything you share is completely confidential. You can also request a new therapist at no additional charge at any time.
Join the 2 million plus people who have taken charge of their mental health with an experienced BetterHelp therapist.
Special offer to 13 cards subject to change listeners. Get 10% off your first month at BetterHelp.com/13 cards. That's better, HELP.com/13 cards.
Thanks again to BetterHelp for sponsoring this podcast.
So, yeah. So thank you to our fans. Thank you to BetterHelp.com, our sponsor. And also, Man, Charlie Dempsey in this. I can't wait. I'm literally now even more excited for NXT than I've ever been.
It's going to be fun. Tuesday's
gonna
going
be
to
a
be
lot of
great.
fun.
What they do
yeah.
on Sunday
But
at Worlds Collide.
Here's my thing now
Oh.
that we're moving into a new era of NXT, especially with NXT UK closing down. I'm speaking to our fans, and I'm speaking to other people, and I will send this to many people. Y'all, this has been NXT 2.0 since the get-go.
Right.
Don't all of a sudden start saying, man, they got a lot down there. It's been down there for
Right,
a while.
right,
This is like the NXT UK argument.
right,
You can't all of a sudden be like, damn, this is pretty good. No, it's always been this.
right.
I've been watching it since they started.
But my point is
And
that
little
It got
before.
better because at first a lot of these talents were
right,
green.
right, obviously.
Oh, yeah.
But Jesse, my point is the overall idea, it's been about the same.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's just not a lot of the talent's just really good.
I am warning people though, Joe Gacy will get creepy a lot, and there's not
I'm
much you can do about
I'm
it.
assuming we're getting that match at Worlds Collide.
Yeah.
Which one?
Joe Gacy versus Cameron Grimes.
Okay.
And he's probably going to squash Grimes to the main roster.
Yeah.
Yep.
But now we're going to go on to, before we get to the Castle show, Jesse, you have been hoping, praying, and it took 6.5 DUIs out of the state of Florida. But we are finally full on, go forward with Roman Reigns and Sami Zayn, and this week was another banger.
So
Which, by the way, to AB, sometimes even in the Triple H era, there are going to be shows that'll have a little less wrestling and a little more build. That's just how that's just how the business goes. I know you know that, but yes, SmackDown seemed a little different than what it had in the last couple of weeks, but it was still great. Now back.
I watched the replay, and it's funny because when you watch the replay this week, you can actually watch SmackDown like an hour 25 minutes.
Yeah.
It was mostly commercial.
I am getting worried for Sammy. Because just
So the
how
Usos came back this week,
They did.
and
Well, to be fair, they never left. They just weren't allowed.
they
The Usos were allowed to be on the show.
that's the key word.
they couldn't.
They never left. So they're back on the show this week.
There's no security guard because the Usos are there.
That's right.
Yes.
And so Roman, invited Sammy to come have a chat. They invited.
Because Roman was wondering who was knocking on his door.
That's right.
And, Jay, Jimmy, I get it. The tribal chief is very busy. He has to do a lot more work now because Paul's out. Paul can
That's
only
right.
do so much from a hospital bed.
When you take F5 through a table, it hurts.
Yeah, especially right there on that big belly.
Especially since he is fat.
But, sorry, Paul, but you can probably stand to lose a few pounds at your age.
He's in shape, but it's around,
Yeah.
and that's not good.
But anyway.
I understand that totally.
But
It's a round
anyway.
shape.
Yes, the tribal chief is very busy. He has a lot on his plate. He's running the family. He's running the businesses.
That's right.
He's running the industry. We'll explain that a
Right,
little
right,
bit.
right, right.
'Cause that was fucking gold.
And-
That was
absolute
great.
gold.
And it was good that one of the Usos almost lost it when
But he's hold on.
When Sammy was talking there,
we're
that
not
was
there
fun.
Yet. Come on, Leroy. Don't ruin the bit. Why you gotta ruin the bit?
it was good.
You just want to give people come on, man. You're in the business now. Learn what a teaser is.
I love you, Leroy.
That's what she told me that
Shut
too.
up.
So. And I'm like, I'll show you a
But
fucking teaser.
Don't make me go Jay on your Sammy ass.
Oh,
But anyway,
I'll grab a
so
chair.
Roman, despite how busy he is, still would like to know who knocked on his door.
Yeah.
Jimmy wasn't against it. I like how out of nowhere they have a high five. That was the funniest.
Yeah.
That might have been the most underrated funny part about this.
And Jimmy's like, I'm okay with him.
Jay's still a
Yes.
bit of a hothead.
Yes.
Might be taking on some of his captors' ways of doing things because this is exactly how Roman treated Jay in the beginning.
That's right.
But Roman decided to once again grace Sammy with an audience. And, Sammy lost.
Yes.
But as we know, sometimes setbacks happen
That's right.
to give us a chance to rise.
That's right.
And the tribal chief is very giving.
That's right.
He's
That's right.
very generous.
That's right.
Yes. Well,
And he had a favor to ask of Sammy.
A proposition,
A
if
proposition.
well, he did take a Claymore for him the week before.
you will. True, which is why he's been given.
Which
But-
I
but-
would
An
have
opportunity.
to say
But
yes.
Leroy, what you're alluding to is exactly what your tribal chief said last week. He owes no one anything.
That's right. That's
Oh,
right.
yeah,
We need to make that very clear.
Okay,
So-
all right.
Kevin Owens is going to learn that at some point.
So the tribal chief told him, "Listen, everything can be forgiven. I put you in a match with Drew tonight.
I need Drew out of the way.
I need to get Drew out of the way. He's he's becoming a problem. And of course, Sammy's like, my tribal chief. Of course. I'm the master strategist, sir.
This is what I do.
This is what I do.
Yeah.
And he did a little dance that accidentally made Jay break character in front of the camera.
You
but it was
know,
okay.
You know the truck was like, get his ass off camera. Because I want to say something. That camera moved awkwardly quickly right back to Sammy and Roman.
And he was like, okay, well, good.
Where was
good.
Sammy when we were trying to break Undertaker back in the
Oh, God, that would have been
90s?
great.
El Generico might have done it.
He would have did it.
Yeah, he might have done
And
it.
he goes, my tribal chief, tonight I will not let you down. I will take care of this problem, Drew McIntyre. And so, as he's getting ready for his match, as you've already alluded to, Leroy, the Usos come up, and he's like, guys, I'm ready this time. I am going to take care of
Tribal
business.
Chief does not often extend this.
That's right. That's right.
Extend
That's right.
this to people.
And so he understood, but Jay he's a hothead. I heard you talk to me about my family, and he goes, wait a minute, Jay. See, this is the anger that feels like it's causing an issue between. I have no problem with you, And Jimmy's like, hey, back off, man, relax. Let him. And then angrily, Jay says, good luck.
When you're not drinking, you're apparently the level-headed one.
That's
Anyway,
true.
When you're sober.
Yeah. By the
You're
way,
thinking clearly.
the bus that Jesse wanted to be on.
Oh my God.
What?
That was
Oh
a
my
nice
God.
bus.
We thought it was Hit Row's bus.
Yeah, and it turned out to be
It was
the
the Street Profits bus. They don't know Los Lotharios is involved, but they know that we're actually going to get Maxim Male Models
Yes.
doing something. Maybe they're transitioning away from it, or maybe they're finally going to give you a wrestling side to it,
Right.
so maybe it makes sense.
Right.
I mean, folks, for God's sakes, you cheered for Val Venus for 10 years. I mean, come on. You can give the male model thing at least a chance.
His fucking finishing move was called the money shot. Guys.
Hey.
They wanted to chop off the pee-pee, and they still show that on the highlight reels. Like, relax, y'all.
The porn guy, too. Of course we're going to believe it.
You're a dirty old man.
Yes, I am.
But anyway, Jesse
And my girlfriend loves
Jesse,
Clearly.
Jesse, it is clear that this was a moment where you were not mad that they just threw all the black characters together.
Oh, no, because this was funny as shit. Because, like, when the Street Profits got off the bus, I literally started to laugh because, like, they're, like, the male model, what the fuck is it called? The
Maximum male models.
like, looked in shock. Like, oh, shit. This is not who we wanted to get.
Yeah.
You like the bit they had, the Street Profits had with
Hit Row?
Hit Row
Yes.
before that?
That was fun.
I thought that was good.
That was a good
That was
time.
a good because they both.
It was also weird in the sense that somebody, a black wrestling fan, was like, well, they are mirror images, except, Bianca's an actual champion, and that lady's never going to be champion.
Be bad is what you are. So we're just going to call you
She
Be
is-
Fab and not have you wrestle.
She's just going to be eye candy.
That's,
we're okay
that's
with
fair.
that.
That's
And
fair
we're
because
okay
because
with
we
that.
watched in NXT. We didn't want to watch it again.
We're
Yeah.
okay with that.
But yeah, Jesse, this was just fun to me. I enjoyed this.
So,
Also, folks,
Who are they? Is it going to be?
It'll
the
be
models
an 8-man
against-
tag. It'll be an 8-man tag.
You think it's going to be 8-man tag?
Well, because Los Lotharios are involved.
No. So they announced next week it'll be Hit Row versus the male models.
I know that, but trust me, at some
Eventually.
point this will be an 8-man situation.
Possibly. The Los Lotharios part has been weird because they also hated them when they first saw them. So I maybe there's a story beat I missed somewhere with that. But
Well, okay, Max
Mhm.
is not a fan of Los Lotharios.
His
Maxine
sister
is quite the fan of Los
well,
Lotharios.
because apparently the ladies are all fans of Los Lotharios.
Hey, Pat McAfee sold those boys for a good 6 months, according to Vince. Also, by the way,
There's some good.
The-
There's a couple good-looking
the
Hispanic
best
boys.
relationship that I didn't know I needed in all of professional wrestling. I'm serious, Jesse. Take
Oh,
any
no.
company out of it. Screw whatever your option is. Screw your option. Michael Cole, Miss Bailey. We all know he did.
Oh my god!
It's like having an ex that just won't go the fuck away. Like, just comes back and just, hi! And, you're working, right? Like, so
Yeah.
he's trying to do commentary.
Yeah.
and he's
Kinda-
like, hey, Bailey.
It remind
But
you of
Bailey
that.
did-
Hey.
But Bailey did tell him to look out a couple of times, and
Is it remind me of that?
Can Michael just run and say he's
good
done
old-
for this segment and give me Bailey and Pat McAfee for a segment,
It just
please?
reminds me of the good old Guns N' Roses song. I used to love her, but I had to kill her.
Yeah, he can't because
And she bitched so much she drove me nuts.
He
'Cause she
he
is.
has a job to do, but it's the worst.
But
and
even
it's great
even if he did bury her, we could still
because
hear her.
EO doesn't make his situation better. Because every time he tries to look down, it's like EO's like, and pull your head up and look at her. And he's like, hi, Bailey. Okay. Like, you guys won't let me do my job. Okay.
Just because Jesse would enjoy that is not
Well,
part
listen.
of our regular schedule program.
Listen. But yeah,
yeah.
I love that they now have Bailey messing
I
with him
also
again.
love that Pat is just like, fuck you, Michael. I know we're
We're
friends.
egging it on.
And he's
gonna keep
rolling
going.
with it.
He's just,
He
by
had
the way,
it.
whoever decided,
Why won't you look at her? Because she's sitting right by me. Why would I
whoever
look at her?
decided to make Pat McAfee the modern day John Madden of professional wrestling, thank you. It's the greatest thing I've ever seen.
No,
It's
I
the-
do.
Now, UK fans actually don't like this
Oh.
because they don't know pro football like we do.
Yeah, well, when John Madden used to do that, it was better than the actual game.
But yeah,
but him doing the whole thing
With the circles and the dots.
in
and
a
the-
bump,
and the
and then they fucked up, so he just went with it.
he's like, all right,
was
he's moving. Oh,
great.
okay, there he is.
He yelled at the guys in the truck, being like, "Get in the circle, get him in the circle."
Get him in the circle. There he's in the circle.
Oh,
No, I.
commentary is my favorite part about SmackDown
Oh
right
my
now.
God.
It's
But
so
with
good.
with Bailey back and her tension with him, I mean, I liked it when she was before she got injured. It was a lot of fun, and
Well, that was just
I'm
'cause-
really glad they
well, that
brought
was just
that
we
back.
could hear her finally, and she could hear him. Now it's just we got to carry this over.
Oh
Oh,
yeah,
Now
Oh,
we just have to
Oh
carry
no,
this
no!
over.
Last week when she was just shouting at him was fucking hilarious.
It was, yeah.
it's like you're not gonna not hear her,
Moving
man. She's
on, though,
great.
Gunther and Sheamus is going to be fun.
That
All rumors coming out of the taping, Mr. Butch had a different set of tights on.
It was back to his Pete Dunne
Look.
ring wear. Yeah.
Look.
yeah.
I
Underneath.
also like how he said Gunther's a stupid name, and he signed it Butch. That was good. Pete's rolling with this, and he doesn't give a shit.
Well, I loved when the two were in there, and then Butch was rolling around and fucking, and then both are just standing there. We don't give a
SmackDown-
crap about what's going on. We're
SmackDown is
into
back
each
of-
other.
SmackDown's back to the days when Paul Heyman first started running it, to where there's a tongue. It's an Alice Cooper style tongue in cheek,
Sure.
but the seriousness is still there.
Yeah,
See,
sure.
you know what? You know what? I can't wait to see. I can't wait to see what Sheamus looks like. His chest and his back. Both these guys. What?
He's gonna look like a red crayon.
What?
But
they are.
His chest will match his hair.
And this is the point. Is like
he will literally look like a piece of meat.
Yeah.
it's like y'all think wrestling's fake. Look at this shit.
Yeah. Speaking of wrestling being fake, Gene made a very good point when the pictures were released of Drew after
Drew?
the beating. If they don't give him something at this castle, he better have made a nice paycheck for that goddamn beating he took. His back looked
Oh
like
my
fucking raw
Lord.
meat.
That was.
Daniel Bryan is like, welcome to my chess world.
Yeah.
Welcome
The-
to my chess world.
I could have made a burger on his back.
oh my god.
And it's like, yeah, Drew, you are putting one in for the team for doing that.
Oh, my
my God.
And as great as the segments and stuff were on SmackDown, Raw actually topped it this week. You want to know why?
Well, which one?
Johnny fucking Gargano is back! Oh my god! So for those who don't know,
I was
our
holding this off for Jesse.
our fourth unofficial member is Zach's future wife, Allison. You guys get to see her on the Allison Chronicles on the YouTube. Go subscribe. A lot more people are watching and listening to this the podcast on YouTube. We appreciate you. We love you.
All the
And
old
for those who
stuff is on
share,
there. Leroy's going to
right?
catch up a little
The
more in
Allen-
the next coming weeks.
I know. Well, the kids are going to school, so
Right,
I have
yeah,
more
yeah,
free
yeah,
time.
And so, thank you guys for sharing.
The
It's
Allison
awesome. We love
Chronicles
you.
are wonderful.
Yeah, they're great. These guys will be able to see some live ones when we're down there in St. Paul.
I tried to call Zach, not realizing he was at work. And I'm
Oh,
like,
yeah.
somebody has to enjoy this moment with me. so I called his fiance.
I watched it the next day. I
Yeah.
enjoyed it. So.
My little sister, I called his fiance, and she didn't answer at first. I'm like, shit. And I was gonna try to text Leroy.
She never answers it.
I was gonna try to text Leroy, but I was trying to enjoy the moment. And then she called back because she had missed it. She was dealing with some personal stuff, which is fine.
Yep.
And she's like, "Is everything okay?" I'm like, "Johnny Gargano's back." And she's like, "Shut up!" And I'm like, "Johnny Gargano's back." And she's like, "You're lying to me." I'm like, "No. Johnny Gargano was on Raw."
I was down having a beer at that time.
I also want to point something out.
Oh my God!
Before we continue
Yes.
with Jesse's excitement, that bullshit report that came out afterwards that no one was interested in signing Johnny Gargano.
God,
Bullshit.
you're full of shit.
Who Fightful? I understand you're trying to do your job, but that means
Was
somebody
it
wasn't.
Fightful that put that out?
Fightful reported it
I
shortly
believe so,
after
yes.
somebody else.
Oh,
but
okay.
Fightful, nobody wanted to tell you how interested they were in Johnny Gargano.
Well, because Sean Ross, I didn't mean to cut you off, but Sean Ross Sapp even said, like, I was shocked they put that out because even Sean Ross was like, well, I heard that report, but that's really impossible to believe. No one was interested in Johnny Gargano. Get the fuck out of here.
Johnny Wrestling?
Right.
First of all, Johnny Wrestling is the guy who brought what AEW is to the WWE.
Yes.
He fits in. He, day one, is one of the best workers you have in AEW.
Right.
Mm-hmm. And I think him coming back and then Mr. Theory coming out.
Johnny
and the
Gargano
interaction.
apparently has decided that everything I've learned from HBK, I'm going to use in the main roster. So Theory decides to come out, and it sounds like Austin Theory actually might get his first team back. Thank God. Triple H, thank
And
you.
his first coming back and Johnny Wrestling's first
By the way,
interaction
hats
with
off
Theory.
to Jesse's favorite
Oh my
never
God.
will be face again heel, Mr. Waller, commenting
yes.
on the moment. And
Oh, I
Of
did.
course, you went to Raw, you pussy. You didn't
Well,
want
you
to
want
fight
to know what
me.
the funniest part is? He can finally say, "I beat up Gargano
Yeah, he
again."
can.
He doesn't have to
That's
allude to
true.
that guy
Right,
anymore.
right.
He can say Gargano.
Right. So Theory tries to come out, run his mouth, and
But
Johnny.
I don't really think he was running his mouth.
He was
I think
right.
he was trying to be gracious to the new guy.
Yeah.
yeah,
to the
yeah.
rookie.
Yeah, and unfortunately for him, Johnny Gargano was like, "Oh, I'm gonna Shawn Michaels you today," because he was like, "Let's do the old way high five, right?" He's like, "Give it to me, John. Give it to me." And I'm sitting there and I mouthed because my mom ran into the room and she's like, "What the fuck have you been screaming about this whole time?" And I'm like, "This guy's about to get kicked in his fucking face and this is gonna be wonderful." And he's like, "Give it to me." Super kick to the face. And I'm like, he learned from Sean. He picked it up. When someone says give it to you, you kick him in the face. Sean taught me that back in '98.
Now,
That's
in all
true.
seriousness, Jesse, do you think if Hunter had not been in charge, do you think Johnny would still just be sitting around at home right now?
Yes. Yes.
You don't think Johnny was ever going anywhere else?
I think his preference was to go to WWE and stay in WWE.
I don't think he would have went anywhere else.
I
either, yeah.
think he
I
probably
think if the price was right,
he would have went to
called him
AEW
crazy
for the right. Yeah.
because he has a
Right.
newborn son.
Right.
But by the way, he makes himself an instant face by pulling a Dax Harwood, bringing up the kid, and explaining that how well, first of all, we already knew every dream that he had. There we go.
Bless you.
Oh, bless you.
Jesse is just so excited that there's just
It's contagious,
the-
man.
It's crazy. But every dream he had, every title he wanted, it's owned by the WWE.
That's right.
He didn't want to be AEW World Champion. He didn't even want to be a World Champion. He wanted to be the WWE Champion.
Right.
He didn't want the All Atlantic Championship. He didn't want New Japan Super Junior
Right.
Heavyweight Championship.
Right.
He wanted to be the Intercontinental Champion, the United States Champion. But this tells me he's going to be here for a while, and he'll probably be a Grand Slam champion
Oh, yeah.
within 5 years.
I'm about to say
I
they
think
could do it
eventually.
within 3.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
that's just it. Is that when he first of all, you always bring up the kid because you need the tier. If you bring
Oh,
up
yeah.
the kids, it's an automatic tier. Leroy knows this, but unless they're in trouble, but then
Well,
you're
that can bring you tier 2 a little bit.
yeah, exactly.
And then there's Shane McMahon.
yeah, well,
Yeah, we're not talking about him.
but anyway, no, he knew he became instant babyface by saying, "I'm going to teach Quill by following the dream that I do have, not a secondary dream."
Sorry, sir. Baby wrestling.
Baby Baby
That's
wrestling.
It actually trended on Twitter after
I
you
know.
said
Yep, it did.
And they had a picture of her holding
Oh, that
baby wrestling,
oh,
watching the TV.
oh, that
which
broke
was
me.
wonderful.
it. I literally
awesome.
chanted at home baby wrestling like an idiot. Baby wrestling.
Hard to believe Triple H has got you right back into wrestling. He was the guy that almost turned you off. From it.
Man.
I love this. The first feud with Austin Theory. That it's gonna help Theory.
You know, it's interesting.
love
Jesse.
that. It's
Reports
gonna
are
be
now
great.
coming out that they've signed a multi-year deal with someone that you and I have been talking about. But you don't want to get your hopes up for the Cardiff Castle, so we're not going to talk about it. But
what I am not going to do as a Jet fan and a Knick fan and an Islanders fan and a Yankee fan
Get too excited?
is get my hopes up as a Bray Wyatt fan.
what a
I'm
a
going
month
to do,
of August your Yankees have been having.
Well, they were losing all the time, and now they're winning again. It's weird.
It was a rough month.
It's
It's
almost
been
the
a
end of the-
weird-ass month.
It's almost the end of the season. That's how it works sometimes.
But unfortunately, Houston Astros have won more, so now we're probably not getting the 1 seed. But
That's okay. Just look at the Twins in the first round, even if we don't make the playoffs.
That's true.
I look forward to that.
3-game sweep.
I'm not.
3-game sweep.
So it's amazing. So so the rumor started literally coming out Wednesday morning
Yep.
that they've already inked this deal with Bray, and I'm like, you're not doing this to me.
No.
Until the son of a bitch walks across.
Until the lights go cha 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 cha, and then I don't believe it.
Then the three of us are going to lose our ever-loving fucking
If
mind.
that happens Saturday, which now I can watch it because I will not be busy like I originally thought I would be.
Yeah,
Yep.
I work until 2, so I have to watch it
I
later.
work till 4, so.
So I go get my kids, and then we'll sit down and say, hey, let's watch some wrestling. And if that happens, Eben is going to go nuts, and so we'll clear out.
If you're back
if
in
the
time to
Fiend
watch
shows up.
this live, I think me and you will live stream our reactions to.
Yeah.
So actually, everyone look out for that.
Yeah, go for it.
YouTube invite. I think we're going to live stream this
On Saturday?
But
on Saturday.
but back to the point.
I
back to the point that I was
probably
making.
won't. It starts at, 11 Eastern?
1.
1.
1 Eastern?
Well, no.
Oh,
12 because it's 1 Pacific.
Okay,
Okay.
So
yeah,
it's 12.
I work until 2.
But
Oh, okay.
So I'm not going to
but-
be home till
but
after it's all done.
back to my point.
I'm going to live stream it then,
Yeah.
so
back
everyone
to,
watch it.
You know, back to my point, Jesse. I think this proves that these are two guys that unless Tony was willing to pay over the top money.
He had to pay them CM Punk money to get them there.
Yeah, but that's just it. They if they were ever going to get the itch to do it again, they were not only going to give a hometown discount, but they were going to go back here.
To be honest, I don't even know if Bray will give a hometown discount.
Bray,
but
no. Bray can because he's made so much money off their merch. He can give them a discount.
By
on
the
his
way, as we
contract.
talked about at lunch, Triple H is probably just like, well, one, I'm going to get him back because we've been paying him this whole fucking time. So why not just get him back?
He's
in the
been
contract?
top 3 merch sales since the moment they cut him.
He's still apparently he's still top 10 even
That's
over
crazy.
a year later. Yeah, it's insane. Like they're still paying him residuals. Like we might as well just go get him back.
And it's
It might be he might give us a discount because we're already
It's-
paying him in royalties.
it's going to be fun to see
But my point is, Jesse, is
what indication, what
no, there is no
one of Bray.
No.
Which one are they?
Oh,
Bringing
he's showing up for
back?
Roman if he shows up.
Oh yeah, no, it's gonna be Roman. All
Like
the
who is he going to go after?
He's going after
time. It's
Roman.
going after Roman.
Which
It's the only story that makes sense.
we know Bray Wyatt in his Mr. Rogers sweater,
He'll be the Fiend,
but it'll be the Fiend. But which one? The original Fiend?
It's gonna. I'm telling you, it's gonna be a mixture of both.
yeah.
It's
Because
gonna
he's
be a mix
already
of the
started.
both?
Yeah,
Because
Okay.
Bray's because Bray, regardless of how he felt about creative, he was willing to create his own version.
Right.
Okay.
And so he was already amalgamating the character if he wanted to go to the Indies. So I think it'll be an amalgamation of the 2 of the 3 characters he's already done in WWE.
Yeah.
And he's going after Roman immediately.
Yes.
I wonder if
but-
he'll have his
but-
puppet show again.
But Jesse,
Maybe.
like
The
Jesse,
house, that was so
like
fun.
I said, I think this is proof Johnny was waiting something out.
I'm telling you,
Triple H sent a few text messages.
I am not a conspiracy guy. I'm about the facts. Me and Zach have always been guys about the facts. Even if me and him disagree about how the facts got there and what the facts maybe state, we're about the facts. The biggest fact here, when it comes to the situation, is it never made sense. The cutting never made sense.
No, it didn't.
You were still going to have to pay him, and him going elsewhere would have never made fucking sense either. And so like I said, it's all about the facts. Now, like I said, he shows up this Saturday. I believe it's a Saturday.
Yeah.
He
Yes,
shows
it
up
on
this
Saturday.
Saturday, and he fucks Roman up because that's who he's going after. I will be excited. I'm going to be even more excited for the fact that we're going to Raw in October because I don't think that feud ends for at least 2 months.
No.
So
Now, my question is back to Gargano. Do you think, because I know you kind of answered it early on, do you think that Johnny was just like, okay, first of all, we both agree Triple H had a group text or something where he told us,
sorry,
Oh,
the
yeah.
conspiracy thing.
Yeah.
So with the facts, I still don't believe that they ratted out Vince. I think Vince did himself in.
yes.
Oh yeah, he
But I
did a
gotta
good
be
enough-
honest, man.
He did a good enough job for that.
Seriously, you're on to something. You and the rest of Zach's not a conspiracy theorist, but all the conspiracy theorists in wrestling are on to something. He waited this out for a while.
Yeah.
He knew something. Maybe.
Karrion Kross never signed a long-term contract with anyone. Even the
He also left Control Your Narrative
which he
real quick.
which he
Oh,
invested his own money into.
And by the way,
There's something to
And
the
by the
fact
way-
that Triple H knew this
and by
was
the way,
coming.
Adam, stop making statements like my company's worth hundreds of dollars because it's our own money. Shut up, Adam. We're not even gonna talk.
Yeah,
about
we're
this.
not talking
It
about
was so dumb.
What did he say?
Adam decided to be like, I would never go to that shit show. Control Your Narrative will be around longer than that crap.
All right.
My company is worth hundreds of dollars because it's our own money. And then something comment about his daddy. He
Was-
basically says he's not going to AEW.
Oh, Adam Shear?
Yeah.
Well, first off, he should shut up. But second off, like, you wouldn't fit in AEW anyway.
Yeah.
Like, so why even talk about it?
Yeah.
You know what? It's very clear to me, especially after seeing the William Regal post. WWE is about to get a lot of talent back.
And there won't be a tampering issue because they're
Right.
all just going to be like, buy me out.
Right.
Nope.
I'm
done.
going. See
You
ya.
can fire me because I'm not showing up.
Yeah. Well,
Uh.
here's the deal. Tony ghosts them anyway. They should just do it, and then Tony will finally grow a pair of balls. And guess what? It's going to be the switch effect, but you're going to be handing WWE everything they need. Because here's the deal. You did nothing with it.
Right.
Yep.
You did nothing with it. Just hand it back to Hunter. He knows what to do with it. And then go about your merry way with the idiots you got into bed with. But no, back to what Jesse was saying. I don't think it's a conspiracy. I think it's legit. He sent a bunch of text messages, and the people who got them first were Dexter Lumis and Karrion Kross. And he said, just don't sign anything.
Right.
Now, I wish Swerve would have listened because Swerve had no real bad things going out.
No.
Keith, I get it. He was a little bit hurt by it.
He was a little pissed
I'm
at
not
Vince
mad about it.
like
I
he,
get it.
He did his thing. He did what they asked, and apparently still wasn't enough. I get it.
But Hit Row listened.
Yes.
All three of them listened.
Yes.
Yes.
Folks, Johnny didn't want to do this for anybody else. He didn't. There was nowhere else he wanted to wrestle. And the fact that he had to wait it out, what better time, and I'm going to shoot it over to our man Leroy here, what better time in your life to literally sit at home and do jack nothing than a brand new baby boy?
Yeah, it's a lot of great thing to just not work and spend time.
He got to literally sit there, live off the residual checks of his merch, which sold like crazy after he left.
And unfortunately change a bunch of poopy diapers. That ain't very fun. But,
He probably had Candace do a few.
well, yeah. But, yeah, no, the time he spent with his child, it's going to be great. I'm glad the way they have WWE, where they have a structure Triple H has started, that he can wrestle for a while, and then he can go home and whatever, and be home with his
But the
family
other thing
for a while,
about
and
it
then come
is,
back.
but
It'll
the
be
other thing
great.
about it is that Johnny also, I think, realizes something very smart. The kid's still young. I don't care what anyone wants to tell me. I get it. I'm not a parent. You are. But these first couple of years, they don't remember what they had for breakfast.
No.
They don't
Claire-
remember taking a shit.
There. I show pictures of Claire on Facebook. That's you. I'm like, yeah, I don't remember that. I'm like,
Exactly. So Johnny
I
can,
remember it,
yeah, so
which
like,
is the best.
So like Jesse said, in 3 years, he can be a Grand Slammer. So by the time
Yeah.
the kid's 3, Then he can start to take this more part-time thing, but he can go on the full-time run.
Yeah.
For a couple of years. Candace will probably be maybe a part-timer thing. Obviously, Becky and Seth have a daycare thing figured out because they're doing fine.
I was gonna say I'm starting to think Candice LeRae isn't coming back for a while. If she's ever gonna come back to wrestling.
Right? Yeah. But at this point, based on what we were talking about, the only place she'd come back would be here.
Mm-hmm.
But I figured I'd state that because I would think since the baby's so new. I mean, everyone's situation is different. And like you said, Becky and Seth have clearly got family or something, and they figured this out already.
Well, Becky, from all reports, especially coming right out of Seth, she wanted to come back so bad.
Right.
She wanted this.
But
Candace, a little older. She's done a lot more overall than Becky has in the wrestling business. Who knows?
Right.
But
and it's up to Candace. 100%.
I still think with the way Triple H and how they do it, that people are going to be able to have the time off. If they say, hey, I want some time off to do this, Triple H is like, okay, and they'll figure something out.
Jesse was also
They're
super
have
excited
enough.
about how they brought Gargano back because they just kind of were like, let's start playing the music.
There was no announcement.
Oh,
they
no.
literally came back from. So what happened, Leroy? Is
Yeah, I know. When I watched on the replay, all of a sudden, boom, they're back. I'm like, whoa.
They came back for commercial, and at first when the music hit, I'm like, well, that can't be right. I think somebody in the truck just fucked up. Like I almost expected it to stop and recut to commercial, and then I saw the crowd reaction. I'm like, I swear to God, if it says Johnny Gargano when they turn to that Titantron,
it didn't say Johnny, but
it just said Gargano, and I'm like, no fucking way.
And
then this was Vince,
and then
his name would have just been Gargano.
Right.
But the fact that he said I'm Johnny Gargano.
Right. Well, yeah, he saw that, and then he saw the smiley face with the one eye. I'm like, oh yes.
Well, and then good on Johnny. Milked it because he hadn't came out for like at least a minute. I'm like, okay, so he's not actually here. So I don't know what Triple H is doing here, but because the crowd who knew who he was like, no fucking way. There was no announcement. No, so when he walked out, I'm like, oh my God.
When they were showing pictures of the crowd, people were like, no, that can't be. And it was great.
And by the way, this was 20 minutes after Dexter Lumis just kidnapped the Miz.
Yes.
Well, we had to bring you back. We had to bring you back. All right, Leroy, let's get to this Castle show, shall we?
All right,
because we're going to just run through these quick because we're running out of time here. But what a Castle show. Cardiff, you're getting a hell of a show. And I have a feeling that the Castle show might not become a yearly thing, but maybe once or twice a year they'll be in the UK.
I think they're going to try to get to the UK at least once every year. Go ahead.
We have all the time in the world, but yeah, I know. We want to do other than sit here, so I understand. It's not that I don't like you guys. But hey.
It's almost football season. We're not going to care in football season because we're going to be here till 7 o'clock at night.
I was about to say we won't be here till 3.
Order some goddamn food or make sure or teach Eben has to cook so I can have dinner before we get done with this shit.
Well, no, it's like, folks, let me tell you something. Football season, we're going to be here till fucking 8 o'clock.
Right.
All right.
We just will.
Well, we did talk about ours, but we're going to have our good, the Ring General, Gunther, and Sheamus for the Intercontinental Championship. That's going to take
big, meaty men slapping meat.
Well, thank you for doing that for me.
So shut up, Jesse, please.
Big, meaty men slapping the meat for about 25 minutes, getting all red and juicy and meaty and bloody and slappy-dappy-dappy. This will be the first belt change.
Okay.
Oh, you think so?
Not what you think I mean.
Okay.
Gunther will retain.
Yes.
The Intercontinental
He's
Championship.
He's going to retire whatever this design is.
I think it's going to go back to the white belt.
Really? Okay, so you just have to go back to the white.
I think Triple H is going to bring... Because that really was a great-looking belt and it was paying homage to the past belt.
And by the way, the other thing that I want to point out before we go on, not to interrupt you, but the fact that Triple H is doing so many things so quickly proves to me that Vince really has walked away.
Yeah.
Because there's clearly no divide in the family. There's clearly no animosity. Because Triple H, it's still his father-in-law.
Right.
He still wants to be respectful. He clearly has a blessing, not in the sense that Vince is okay with it, but that Vince is just
the greatest meme I saw Saturday before I went and did my delivery stuff so I can make some money.
We got some legal fees to pay.
Right. Was the fact that somebody put a picture of Shawn and Triple H back when DX was formed, and they went, somebody tell me that almost 30 years ago that these two would be running WWE, I would have laughed in your fucking face.
And you would have. And you would have.
These two are basically DX because now Road Dogg's there.
Yeah.
They're basically running WWE.
Which, by the way, Jim Cornette said it. It's not like Jeff Jarrett's just all of a sudden doesn't have a job. He runs a baseball team. He's doing this. Jeff's a very busy man.
I don't even know why Jeff took the job. So that was the thing, I think.
Well, that move was made before Vince was out.
Right.
Yeah.
But remember, Vince always liked the Jarretts more than the James family.
Right. I just don't know why Jeff took the job because he's got so much going on.
I should say the Armstrongs.
Yeah.
There you go.
But because he had so much going on. But yeah, next match.
Yeah. I guess. Are you saying that?
Gunther's going to retain.
Yeah. You saying that there might be some title
I think they're going to
design changes?
Yeah, I
on
think
this one
on this
pay-per-view
show,
possibly.
like Gunther won't come out with the title. Everyone's going to be confused, but the ref will be holding a title,
A bag.
and then he'll put it on the thing,
Yeah.
and then they'll reveal a white Intercontinental Championship.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, the classic one. That's always
Yep.
good.
Yeah.
Then
Which,
we,
by the way, Gunther would be the one to
Perfect
probably,
for it.
Yeah, exactly.
yes. All right. Next up, we do have they do have a bit of with Riddle and Seth frickin' Rollins. This is going to be a hell of a match.
Talk about a potential 7 out of 5 match.
I know. The two
Dave will never do it because
the
there's nobody
two
named
guys
Matt, Nick, or
that
Kenny in
can
there.
go
Well, Matt Riddle.
like.
Is he getting his name back then?
He is getting his name
Okay,
back,
cool.
yeah.
All right. Riddle has never had a bad match, as we
No.
as we have
No,
said
no.
many times. Then of course you're
Because
gonna
he finally
have.
works for a company that says, "Yeah, go ahead and smoke the weed. Just don't do it while you're in the ring."
That's
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
Yeah, that's about it.
Then we have the 6-woman tag. We have Bianca, Bliss, Asuka against Bailey, Dakota Kai, and
Boy,
Io
this is
Sky.
looking like a winner's take all.
Isn't it though?
No. That's just gonna
Well,
be a
here's
tag
why
match.
I say this. So, by the way, guys, I am tying stuff in. Because remember, tomorrow night on Raw, the finals is
Yes.
for the titles tomorrow night on Raw. I don't think Bailey and Naomi are showing up until Clash of the Castle.
You mean Sasha?
Thank you, Naomi and Sasha. So
yeah, I think that's when they might premiere.
Because here's the
It
deal.
would be good.
Because here's the deal. We talked earlier. What you do sets up your next number.
right.
It doesn't make sense to have them on Raw
Right.
and then do the Cardiff show. But if they're in Cardiff, Triple H,
It'll be
Triple H,
huge.
sadly, all of our UK listeners, you are the guinea pigs for what the ratings will be after Cardiff.
Yes, you
because
are.
guess what? You'll pop for anything. We've already proven it. Wrestler books prove it. Jesse's read many of them.
if they show
You're
up,
gonna pop for anything. So if we give you something to pop for, it's gonna be good.
okay. If they do show up, I have to make sure to have my phone ready.
Yeah.
Because if the boss music, if that comes in,
Yeah.
or Glow, Clara is going to be dancing
Yeah.
and going nuts. It'll be fun.
Yeah.
That's going to be a good match. Who we got, the face or the heels winning that one, you think?
Man, like I said, I think it's going to end up being winner take all because I think Dakota Kai and Io Sky are going to be tag team champions going into this.
Okay. That'll be. It's going to be. I think they will be too. It'll be a good match. I mean,
It's
Oh
good.
hell yeah.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
gonna be weird to see them only tag champs for a week because I don't think they're taking this belt off of Bianca yet.
no.
Nah.
No.
So, like I said, only reason I'm jumping to this conclusion because, like I said, the finals are this week. So unless they lose the match,
Yeah.
and then maybe Sasha and Naomi do come out tomorrow night on Raw, and then they get a title defense at Clash of the because that still pops.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would think Triple H maybe does the heel thing. I mean, them being short-term champions isn't the worst thing, say if Bailey loses to Bianca.
Exactly.
Because then then they can go like, well, we didn't lose our tag titles. You lost our tag titles, Bailey.
Yeah.
Like, step up your shit.
And if they come out Monday, depending on when the tag title champions have hats at the end of the show, they win, they're standing there, all of a sudden here comes the former champs out.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Something like that to end the show.
Because
that'd be
because
good.
I definitely think because again, it was reported that Sasha and Naomi had a good meeting with Vince. But I
Yeah,
think
they were going to get brought back when Vince was there, yeah.
right.
Yeah.
So I think that as long as you got rid of Johnny Ace, and let's be honest, yes, Bruce is there, but as Jesse pointed out, he's a figurehead to do documentaries.
About
He
to
ain't
say,
doing nothing
yeah, he's
else.
just a now he's a conduit for nothing now. So,
Yes.
yeah.
So
There you go.
basically, you got rid of the only real issue, which was that sexist loser piece of shit Johnny Ace. And Johnny, I'm with Jimmy Cornette on this one. Fuck you and the horse you rode in on,
There you
because fuck you, Johnny Ace.
All
But
right.
yeah, no, these two I don't think have an issue with Hunter, clearly.
No.
And I don't think they ever had an issue with Vince. I think the issue was
The other
Courtney
guys.
Love.
People forget Sasha was the first one to call him Papa H.
Yep.
There you go.
So, well, and here's the other thing. And fine, whatever. Call this statement sexist. Who's running the company?
Mm-hmm.
A female.
Right.
Yep.
Runs WWE.
Yeah.
And it ain't Linda.
No, it's not.
So,
It's her daughter.
yeah. So, she's the most powerful female executive in all of entertainment.
Right.
Name one that's higher right now. You can't find it.
There we go.
So, a female is at the top, so we know there'll be no more issues in the locker room.
Mm-hmm.
You ain't hiring no more scuzzballs.
What's the next match, bud?
Well, I think after this 6 women, it will bring out Bianca Bailey, finally getting that run
Right.
to end that, to finish that out, because that'll be great. We got the SmackDown Women's Championship, Liv Morgan against Shayna Baszler. We all believe Liv is going to win out of this, are we saying? No title change
Yeah,
with that?
Yeah.
I think Liv definitely
Here's the other
And
thing.
will
retains.
be-
Here's the other thing. Triple H believes in classic wrestling tropes.
Yes.
So if you're going to actually take the belt off Roman, that's your title change.
Right. Well, here's the thing for the SmackDown one. They got to build her.
Yeah.
They kind of screwed up with the Ronda thing.
They did, yeah.
And I think they realized that.
Yep.
So she's going to get this win over. She's going to survive Shayna and get the
Yep.
win. Plus, the bigger
The
story.
fact that Shayna's on a pay-per-view alone makes me happy.
By the way, and she feels like the old Shayna from NXT, which is great.
She feels like a refreshed version of that
Yes.
champ.
So
I'm
Liv
hoping,
will retain, though.
Yeah.
I'm hoping Shayna gets a shot and gets the title
That's
run
your
with
game
that,
of the year,
'cause-
by the way, Jesse.
Look out for news dropping on the channel. Go ahead, next match.
When the game comes out, I'll rent it before I buy it, and then we can play, and then laugh about it, and then send it back.
They should totally leave the company. I don't even know why they're
There
there.
we go. All right, and this
Go to
only
Mexico.
5 matches. They might add some more this week.
Yeah.
I'm guessing. But the last match is going to be Roman and Drew. And this is the fun part. They have Roman Reigns with Paul Heyman, Sami Zayn, Jimmy and Jey Uso versus Drew. Are the Usos going to make it?
No, the Fiend's going to kill everybody.
Okay. Well, no.
The lights will go out. The Fiend will remove everyone randomly under the ring.
I don't
Or
think.
he'll just come out of the ring.
Okay.
And the referee will be like, I know I don't work in AEW. I know I'm seeing what I'm seeing, but this is a bit much. 1, 2, 3. I'm
Yeah.
out of here.
But I don't think.
What, Claymore? I'm out. I'm out. Fuck
The
this.
referee's gonna go 1, 2, 3, and then literally just jump out of the ring.
Just slide out like I'm out.
No. He will fly to the second rope and somehow disappear.
In a sense,
Or Jimmy-
Sophia, get the fuck out of there.
Is Jimmy and
Tope
Jay
suicide.
gonna?
Yeah.
Are Jimmy and Jay gonna be there?
No.
Do you think?
Well, they'll be in London. I think they're going to end up defending their titles anyway.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
You think so?
yeah.
The
Against the
UK,
Street Profits
God
or what?
bless them, they don't have too many problems with American DUIs.